What's up, everybody? How in the world are you? Who's ready for an amazing day, a grand final, a huge one here? Points and money on the line for the Calalas Cup, Day 3. We say points and money. Yes, points for Clash Royale League. This is one of the community events that does help you earn points towards one of our 8 golden tickets to CRL World Finals. And, of course, 15,000 euros on the line with 7.5K going to our first place player. And we are going to have a great one today, folks. Especially because we have a special guest on the line. Joining me today on the cast, none other than molten, long-time, very successful World Championship coach, Jebas. Jebas, hey man, I was very excited that you reached out and happy to have you here on the stream today.
Hey Rich, how are you doing? I hope everyone is having a nice day. And yeah, I messaged you because I really like to do this, so hopefully it's a good one for everyone.
It should be a whole lot of fun, and we've got a whole lot of really great matches, including our first match of the day, Lucas and Ale coming here in just one moment. Let me go ahead and grab the schedule for the day so I can share that with everybody. I can tell you guys what matches we have and in what order. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Let me go ahead and grab that right now. Where are you? Schedule. Boom. Schedule for the day. We start off with Ale versus Lucas. Then we'll go into Firkin, Ian, Ta, and Tourist, then EGW and Riley. Now let's go ahead and kick things off right now with our first match of the day, Lucas and Ale. And this is our lower bracket matchup. Remember, we have 4 players currently in the lower bracket, Ale, Lucas, Firkin, and Ian, so a match loss here means you are done, out of the tournament. A win here puts you in the top 6. And of course, top 4 is where that prize pool begins to jump up a little bit. And Jebas, this has been an interesting tournament so far. Obviously, the meta is influenced heavily by Dagger Duchess. But we have seen, of course, a little mixture of not just the big beefy stuff, but the occasional success with different cycle decks. We've seen more pigs than hog, obviously, a little bit of miner here and there. And of course, of all the cycle that's working the most, drill has been very popular.
As you can see here right now, Ale decided to go for the easiest deck and most successful deck in the meta, which is Giant Lighting in this case. And I think Lucas came prepared. He's working with Alan, and they have a Mighty Miner on their drill deck. Ale doesn't have a really good way to kill the Mighty Miner besides Lightning, so I think this one should be very interesting to see.
And the berry, as many people call it, come out with. Rich, who are you in the call with? Can't understand the voice. Yes, I'm in call with Jebas, longtime Clash Royale coach. And someone did ask, how is he coach? Who does he coach for and his players in the tournament? I think that a lot of your players, I think you had one player in the tournament, and then did some of your guys sit out too?
Yeah, I'm coaching Adriel, Pedro, and Clown this year. Adriel lost yesterday, and the other two didn't qualify, unfortunately. So today I'm just a spectator.
Of course, it's a little easier to be a spectator when you have got at least one world championship under your belt already.
As you can see, Rich, the Mighty Miner Poison are just decimating the pushes. This is a good double giant by Ale, but Evil Tesla will probably bail Lucas out on defense.
It does feel like, I mean, we are getting deeper into the Evos overall here, Jebas. They've expanded dramatically. And it feels like Evo Tesla in this meta might be the most impactful, not just because of it being a powerful Evo overall, but for how much it's killed most of the other buildings except the occasional Inferno Tower for matchup.
Yeah, the best Evos right now are Bomber, Zep, and Tesla. Tesla the best one on defense, Bomber the best one on offense. Zep can do a bit of both, the defense and offense. And it's like you said, with Evo Zep open, you can't really play Inferno, so Tesla will always be the first building in your mind.
90 seconds left, 24-74 on the right-hand side. Lead currently is for Ale. Lucas trying to find ways to shut this one down. Ice Spirit does not get caught by those arrows, but with under a minute and a half left, the lead for Ale is looking pretty devastating. What does Lucas need to do to get back these last few points here?
I think he needed more damage in single, if I'm gonna be honest, because in double, triple, you start doing the giant pushes. With the thing about this tower is the tower will be active for, I don't know, 5-8 seconds. I'm not sure the duration, and then he just starts spamming troops, and you need to overcommit a lot on those troops. So Lucas, instead of going on offense, he's going defense all the time. So the giant will always chip him little by little. That's why in single he had to do more damage.
And I'm working on trying to calibrate some of the audio stuff here, folks. So I will continue to tweak it here until we get a good balance. And with 25 seconds left, it's interesting, you know, Jeb, as we talk about drill stuff. Drill NATO with either old school Magic Archer or now with an Evo Bomber. That's kind of the only way once you start getting behind on damage. It allowed drill decks to recover dramatically, but we're seeing so many players playing non-NATO drill decks as of late.
There's a drill NATO deck on ladder which is really solid. Maybe people don't play it here because of certain matchup. For example, against P.E.K.K.A. Lightning, it's it's not really the best, and I don't know, there's more matchups, and maybe just because of you burn a lot of cards. That's why people select other types of drills, maybe.
And that's one
here,
of the...
as you saw, Ale just had Bomber, he had Bowler, so he just chipped the whole game. Lucas needed to be more aggressive in single. I actually thought he could win this one, but yeah, he wasn't aggressive enough in single.
And Yogesh Joshi saying, am I checking the YouTube chat? Yes, I am on occasion checking the YouTube chat. I have a co-commentator here today, so a little bit more focused on all the things happening. But I have 2 YouTube chats open, the game, production, my co-commentator. So if I miss your comment or don't respond to it quickly enough, don't worry, I see you. Just trying to make sure I keep all the bits and pieces here moving the best I can. People saying Ale is French, people saying Ale is Italian. No, I believe he's Argentinian, isn't he?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has Italian roots, but he's from Argentina. Exactly.
There you go. Is Ian and Riley going to play again today? It's possible they could end up matched up with each other, but it's only possible, not for sure. So, you know what? Let me go ahead. I see that a lot of people on the vertical stream. By the way, folks, we are in both vertical and horizontal today. Both of those are happening today. So, here are the links for both of them, depending on which one you want to try out. Let me go ahead and kill that one here, vertical stream. Hold on, folks. I see people in the vertical stream, though, asking who am I co-commentating with? And I know I'm going to answer this question about 24 times today, as it is with many of the questions that get asked here on these Clash Royale streams. But I am co-commentating today with longtime, top-tier Clash Royale coach, Jebas. And let me go ahead and just get that centered so it looks nice and pretty. And where are you? Centering button. Center horizontally. Boom. There you go. So when we're here on this screen, you guys can see who my co-caster is. And, I should probably take that up a little bit a ways from my head. Game number 2 about to start. Here we go. Jumping into game number 2.
I expect Lucas to bring out a Beaton deck or a Queen deck, since no Lightning. Arrows Bomber are out from Ale. Those are huge because those impact a lot the Beaton matchups. And from Ale's side, I could see a Hog, I could see an RG, but let's see.
Have you found that deck picking in games 2 and game 3 has gotten more difficult because of the introduction of all of these different evolutions?
It is. With more evils, there's more options available. There's more deck picks, like go-to deck picks. For example, they play a deck, you can go this, that, other. So you really need to study the meta a lot. Sometimes for me, when I'm, for example, coaching in a live match, I need to write down all the evos out, our evos, their cards, their spells, just to really address and see exactly what we can play and what they can bring. It's, I think this is one of the hardest metas I've coached in.
I have a lot of footage from World Finals. I haven't put it together yet because of time, but you'll remember, these people watching don't know, but I spent some time at your coach's table during Worlds watching you guys go through your sheets and your plans and things like that. So I've personally seen the depth that you guys go to, especially for preparing a player to play on stage where a coach is not as able to readily help them in the moment.
Yeah. Lucas decides here to go with recruits, which is really good because Ale doesn't have a bomber. So it's RG from Lucas and probably RG from Ale. Ale has been laying down on the RG a lot. As you see, Rich lightning out, he goes Queen. Pretty normal pick, as you can see by Lucas, because it's insanely solid. Ale playing one of the best cards in the meta right now, Giant Skeleton, because this tower, you have 8 shots, and when the 8 shots are out, the Giant Skeleton just tanks for everything. We see a Mega Minion, because he doesn't have Phoenix. Really interesting pick from Ale.
And you hear a lot of that, folks. You can hear Jebas talking about, we see this because he doesn't have that. And when you talk about preparing for a dual mode matchup, there are a lot of these if this, then that type of situations where you go into game 2 and game 3. So you hear Mega Minion because Lucas doesn't have Phoenix. Queen because Ale doesn't have Lightning. And that's, if you're talking about dual mode 101, you're talking to my teacher right here, Jebas and I, speaking a lot over the course of the last couple of years about these sort of very simple but very direct choices to help inform you in deck building as you go on deeper and deeper. And speaking of going deeper and deeper, here we go into sudden death overtime with a slight lead for Lucas, 24-57 on that bottom right-hand tower, 400 and around 400 behind is that Ale damage on the left-hand tower, and Lucas about to add a bit more to that with the Evo RG.
Mm-hmm. And he has the King Tower activated, so all he needs is recruits to defend the Giant Skeleton and a Fisherman to pull the Goblin Giant middle, and all the towers will engage on the Goblin Giant. So I don't see Ale doing a lot of damage here. This was actually a very good deck pick, I think, from Lucas, because I've been watching Ale. I studied all the players on this bracket, and Ale loves the giant skeleton. So if they cover that, that's a very smart pick. And as you can see, the queen is just killing everything. Recruits just shut down the goblin giant.
And how impactful is that damage from the rage spell able to clear off the Evo skeletons, who you saw Ale going in, 7 elixir left-hand side, able to get very little from it, although does shorten the gap here, and with this goblin giant beat down monstrosity, you are able to push through and get some good damage in the right moment. We'll see if that moment comes for the Argentinian.
He played Evo Zap, he just played another Zap, so he's still a bit off his Evo Zap. If he can get an Evo Zap Fireball push, maybe he can do some damage, because Evo Zap Fireball just kills literally everything on Lucas' deck. So he's just waiting for that, he's just attacking so Lucas doesn't go RG. But the queen won't die unless he has Evo Zap, so this defense should be easy by Lucas. As you can see, Fisherman middle kills everything. And he's probably going to go
seconds left. This is a little bit close here, though. Lucas does have to be careful. He does have his Fireball Rage. He needs to get his spells in the mix, 1943 to 1854. Lucas needs to Fireball, does Fireball. The Evo Zap is in, but the Royal Giant does connect. And that is enough to get Lucas through in a very, very tight finish and keep us going for game number 3.
Ale played the bad Fisherman at the end. I don't know if you saw it later in front of the Steam Tower, but I don't know if he could pull it because there was a queen and a recruits on the other side. But that Fisherman just pulled RG.
Why don't I go ahead and queue up a little replay here so we can take a look at that exact moment. Oh, that's the wrong button. Here we go. Jumping into the replay here. So let's talk us through this, Jebas, as we look at the mistake that you mentioned.
Here, it's easy defense by Lucas. Lucas here needs to go offense, but he first decides to play recruits just so the Goblin Giant doesn't get damage on his tower. Here, he goes for RG just so he doesn't pressure. As you can see, this Fisherman by Ale to defend the recruit made the RG go to the tower. RG got a hit, and that was the game.
GG, well played. Game number 3 on its way. So as we wait for game number 3, let's take a look at the decks they played. And I don't have a graphic for this, unfortunately, folks. That would be a nice addition in the future. But in game number 1, Drill Mighty Miner, Poison Log for Lucas, and then the RG Fireball Rage deck that we just saw with Queen. Queen played by both players in game number 2. Obviously, Giant Skeleton, Goblin Giant. Evo Zap is out for Ale, along with the Evo Bomber out for both players, Lightning out. Thoughts maybe, Jebas, predictions here for Game 3?
Ale played Evo Zap and Arrows, so I could definitely see smaller troop from Lucas, for example, a Firecracker, gets a lot of value in this. We could also see an Inferno Tower. I'm not sure if he will go 100% Inferno Tower, because Ale played 2 beatdowns, so whenever you play 2 beatdowns, it's most likely you will play a cycle. But Ale loves to play beatdown as well, so they have to address both. And in Ale's case, I don't think he will try to do a lot of snipes. Ale likes to pick his comfort decks. So here, he could pick... He still has Golem open. I don't know if you know Rich, but it's his best deck. And from Ale, I could see a Golem or a Cycle deck, I'd say. For example, a Miner or a Hog. Hog is as well.
So yeah, Piggies would be interesting, and that would be nicer against an Inferno Tower deck than a Hog Rider. I see a question. Is Ian and Riley playing? Yes, they are both playing today. Ian playing on our next matchup against Firkin, and then Riley in our 4th matchup today against EGW, and then, of course, if they keep on winning, we'll see more of them as the day goes on. And I see a question here as we're getting ready for our Game 3. Do you think that we should have to change Princess Towers to each match, like how cards can only be used once? Jebas, I am personally not in favor of adding the towers into the dual mode meta. I had the idea that maybe each month should be the competitive scene should be restricted actually to one tower troop in order to create a stable meta for that month. I don't know what your thoughts are on the tower troops and how they integrate into dual mode.
I mean, this month we had only the Duchess Tower because it was so better compared to the other ones. But it's true what you said, because we also play in-game duels in other competitions, and in-game duels you have Princess Tower, and I can see like even the best players struggling in-game duels Princess Tower, because some interactions just change a lot, the matchups change a lot, so it's very hard for everyone to adapt. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone.
And here we go. Bowler Giant, aggressive play by Lucas early. He has not played arrows yet, so keep an eye out for those.
Mm-hmm. Lucas deciding to go with Giant, and I'll let probably Executioner Drill.
And definitely some cycle here out of
Mhm.
LA. We'll see if Lucas is able to return the favor from game number 1 and get an early lead, much like his opponent did. A different look, though, at Bowler Giant than what we saw from LA in game 1.
Giant Graveyard probably from Lucas. This pick was risky because I told you he has Golem and Cycles, but they got the Cycles, so I don't think it's a terrible matchup for Lucas.
Asking where we can get the program of the day. I'll tell you more about it as time goes on. Our next matchup after this one will be Ian versus Ferin in a lower bracket elimination match. But right now we are on game 3, Lucas and Ale. And so far, no significant damage either direction as we pass the midway point of our opening 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm. The problem of Alizek is he doesn't have a log, and Bowler is really annoying to deal with. So, but on Lucas's side, he can only defend the drill with Bowler, so maybe he could get out cycled. Ale can't go same lane, I think, so he needs to watch out for that. Oh, he has
And
Dark Prince. I'm very sorry. He has
Oh,
the drill
boy.
counters. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that does change a lot here. Some people saying the bracket's available on Wikipedia, so if you want to follow along with that on your own, you certainly can. And Graveyard in, both Xe and Guards away from the Graveyard. We'll see if Lucas can get much of anything out of it, although the Poison going to clean that up decently enough. Only about 300 HP difference between these two if you look at the top right tower of Lucas and that bottom left on LA. But back in rhythm one more time, Evo Bats behind the Little Prince. Valk pulls all that together. Evo Bats staying alive, but not getting much else for their effort.
Beautiful defense by Ale. He didn't have the cards he wanted on defense, but he still managed to make it work. Good drill, because everyone goes for a drill defense in front, and he's switching it up.
And Graveyard in one more time. Switching lanes here is Lucas. And Poison not a perfect counter for Graveyard these days, but still good enough to mitigate a lot of the damage and maintain the lead for LA with 1:40 left as we are in sudden death overtime.
Here, as you can see, the problem of the tower. You can defend the graveyard, you can defend the giant, but if you just spam some more troops behind it, they'll still be alive, and they'll also do some damage to the tower. I mean,
Great giant there from Lucas to prevent the Executioner NATO connection. And now he has some dual lane pressure. Dark Prince going to get picked up by these guards. Bowler will help clear, though, and so that Dark Prince is now a problem. Valk has to come out, and now the pressure from Lucas is tremendous. Dark Prince one more time on offense. Does he connect? And a huge connection. A major mistake by Ale, and now the Guardian on the right-hand tower. And Ale is in a world of trouble. That might be good game, folks.
it should be. The dual lane pressure was too much. Bowler it's so annoying right now on this meta against all the cycle decks. Lucas played it well. He had good drill counters, and yep, that's the set.
And there you go. We'll get our celebration graphic here in just a minute. And congratulations, Lucas. Ale out in our top 8. We'll leave with $500 or 500 euros total, but not going to be able to get more than that as his journey here in the Calalas Cup ends on day number 3 with his opening matchup. And coming up next, folks, it's going to be Ferin and Ian. Let's look one more time at our prize pool here. As you can see, top 4 is where you start to really increase that money quite a bit. All of these players trying to fight their way towards that 7,500 euros, but for the moment, the big first jump is getting into that top 4 and get yourself just a bit more cash. And of course, points towards the CRL World Finals community golden ticket, one of our 8 trips to World Finals. I see a question here. Rich, can you explain what top 1 means? I keep saying it, but I don't understand it. I don't know if this is a syntax thing, but long story boring, it means getting first place on first place rank on Path of Legends. And I think this is some sort of difference in language structures, but people started posting, you say, hey, I made top 10, meaning you made it into the top 10. You're somewhere between first and 10th in an event. But for some reason in Clash Royale, that ended up starting to mean specifically what spot you got. Hey, I got top 8. Hey, I got top 1. And I don't know, Jebas, if you have any thoughts on why we have this really weird way of saying first place in the Clash Royale world, but my guess is that it's something about, like, something lost in translation of how you might say first place in another language.
I'm not sure. Maybe just because it's easier to say top 1 than first place. I don't know. Ian with his blanket.
And I'm sure a lot of the Ferin fans here will be very excited to see COK or C. You know what? Hey, now that you're here in the chat, is it COK, Siok? What? How do I actually say your name? Very popular Turkish content creator. Can you give it to me phonetically? Because I have never actually heard it said out loud.
Ian picking P.E.K.K.A. He has played a lot of P.E.K.K.A. game 1. It's probably a very safe pick from him. And Furkan playing RG Tesla game 1. This deck pick, I actually made it against Ian in groups. It was solid back then, but now with all the P.E.K.K.A.s and Giants, I don't think it's the best deck to open with. And this P.E.K.K.A. should punish him, because P.E.K.K.A. You have P.E.K.K.A, you have Little Prince to defend RG, you have Lightning to kill everything, but it's Furkan with RG, so it should be a close one either way.
And folks, I will, once they show me the bracket, I will show it to you, probably happen after this match is over. And we'll take a look at all of that when we have the opportunity. And I do see, we've seen quite a bit of P.E.K.K.A, and with varying success here in this tournament so far. You do it correct. Siok saying, is it, hold on, but I say 2 things. I say Siok or COK. Is it Siok or COK? I don't know.
I think it's COK, because
That's
you
what
say
I
COK.
So,
yeah, P.E.K.K.A.
yeah, go ahead.
The problem of this meta is that if you change 1 or 2 cards on the deck, you go from having matchup to being a really bad matchup, So that's the problem of P.E.K.K.A, because P.E.K.K.A is normally played to snipe some cycles. But as I said, some cycles and some, for example, Giant decks. But for example, Giant now has a bowler, which can beat P.E.K.K.A. It has matchup against P.E.K.K.A. And some cycles can also beat it. So it really depends on what you're expecting. Here, for example, P.E.K.K.A should destroy the Monk with all the breach spam. As you can see, he's overwhelming Furkan.
And that is a absolute hot knife through butter here in game number 1. And Furkan will have to regroup here, as the man often called the best RG player in the world, especially by his fans, runs into a bit of trouble here in game number 1.
Really solid deck pick from Ian. Ian has been playing a lot of P.E.K.K.A. I'm not sure what Furkan's coach was expecting. Probably cycle. His coach is Game C Saver. I don't know if you know him. He was Sosa's coach last year. So I don't agree with this deck pick game 1, but I'm not sure what they were expecting. Right now, he doesn't have Monk, and he doesn't have Tesla, and he doesn't have Ghost. So we could definitely see a cycle from Ian. They really need to go for that cycle snipe. They still have arrows and bomber open. So we could definitely see a lava. We could definitely see a giant lightning. So I think Ian will also prepare for that. We could also see a mighty miner here from Ian.
I see some questions. Anyone ever put Cannoneer or Princess in this CRL? Well, since the introduction of Dagger Duchess, Cannoneer and Princess are on an extended vacation, if you will. So,
I mean, in the beginning of CRL, the Swiss and the top 32, for example, I used some Cannoneer. Some other players used Cannoneer as well, because it's, for example, when you face someone that only plays beatdown, it's a very solid tower troop. But with time going by, we saw that the HP difference between Duchess and Cannoneer was too big, so it's better to just play Duchess. And if you want to snipe beatdown, you just put one more card for beatdown, for example. So
here we go, game 2. Ian with the advantage, and you'll notice a slight adjustment to the overlay, folks. The rating, as opposed to ranking, being said. That is their Path of Legends or ranked rating, total number of medals that they've earned. I think that's probably their best rating overall. And here we go, Hog from Ian.
Whenever you play P.E.K.K.A. and Zep, there's a huge chance you'll face another giant. And when I say another giant, is normal giant, goblin giant, giant skeleton, all of the giants. So here we see a giant by Furkan. He plays bets because no Zep. Ian, as I told you, was going to play a cycle, but he came prepared. He has barbs and goblins and firecrackers, so a lot of bait.
And a lot of damage in this early exchange. Hog will come right behind that. Bats will get to the Hog late, and the zap to slow the bleeding, but unfortunately, Furkan already needed a transfusion.
Furkan didn't know Ian's deck, so the barbs just defended everything, and he had a really solid push. I think there, Furkan shouldn't go in without knowing the full deck of Ian, so that was the mistake, I think.
LMA asking, can someone explain how the lower bracket works? Like, how can Ian and Riley play again if they are on different brackets? Good question, LMA. You remain in the upper bracket until you lose a match. And once you lose a match, you drop into the lower bracket. Once you're in the lower bracket, if you lose, you are knocked out of the tournament. So right now, Ian with a win here can stay alive in the lower bracket. If Riley loses before the grand finals, he could drop down. He'll drop down the lower bracket, and it's possible that he and Ian would find themselves matched up at some point in that bracket. If Ian wins the lower bracket and Riley wins the upper bracket, they would meet again in the grand final. So those are the ways in which they can meet again, because the upper and lower brackets do meet for our championship. And Barb's once again just devastating any attempt at a push out of Furkan, and I think he's resigned to his fate at this point, Jebus.
Yeah, I really like the Inferno too, because you have a lot of baity troops. So if he decides to go for a Zep on the Inferno, that's not a problem. You have barbs, you have firecracker, you have goblins to deal with it. He has poison because of a potential Night Witch or Graveyard, and yeah, that's game for Ian. Ian just played it beautiful in single, and after that, it's Ian with Hog. What else can you expect?
Yeah, Ian with Hog and a bunch of snipe cards to directly smash your deck. I mean, you put those two things together, your best archetype, your best win condition overall, and combine that with a phenomenal snipe, and you're going to get a win here and there. And
yeah, you can really see they addressed the giant, and they also had a nice golem to kite defend troops.
And a shout out to COK. Happy to have all the Turkish fans here out supporting Furkan. And yeah, COK, hopefully to see you at World Finals too. That would be super fun. And Smurfblade, who often is giving really good information in the chat. Ian, low-key lucky. Furkan didn't use Drill Poison. Then he could have saved Giant GY for Game 3, but it's easy to say that now with hindsight. Yes, that is in hindsight. Let's take a look at the bracket now. This is the upper bracket, which we're going to jump into here in our next matches. Ta, Tourist, EGW, and Riley. All four of those players have no losses yet, so all of them can lose a match and still stay alive in this competition. Those are the players in the upper bracket. Of course, winning that will guarantee you a spot in the top 3 for this tournament overall. And you see the journey that Riley's gone on so far, beating Ian on day number 1, a nice win over Lord Seb to get himself here, where he'll face EGW, who already took out Lucas and Akaza. Ta with a couple of good outs against Ale and Samuel Basoto, and Tourist with wins over Dominic, Adriel, and now for his hopes, a win over his next opponent. Let's take a look at the lower bracket here. We did just eliminate Ale and Firkin. Ian and Lucas both staying alive. They are still in the lower bracket though, folks, so if they lose, they are out. They'll await the losers of our upcoming upper bracket matchups. You see those empty spaces next to them, so they will find out their opponents in just a little bit. The winner of those 2 matches, of course, will go play in lower bracket round 5, the lower bracket semifinal, and then the winner of that will go on to the lower bracket final, where they will play a game against one of the top 2 players from the upper bracket. That game will be to decide who goes and challenges the upper bracket champion for our overall top prize of 7,500 euros, and of course, the most points for this event.
Rich, Lucas will face the loser of Tourist. Ian will face the loser of EGW, Riley.
And I see some questions. I see someone saying on the vertical stream, why is the stream cutting out? Stream health looks perfect to me. I have not seen any problems on my end. So let me know if there are problems happening for somebody else. Oh, and here we go. We are jumping right into it. Ta and Tourist, game number 1. They went right for it.
Since I'm just spectating now, my prediction is for Ta to win. He's been practicing so hard. He's also a part of my team, so I wish him the best. We can see very Rich. Let me talk here. He's playing drill. He knows he's playing giant. He goes very aggressive in single, but it doesn't pay out for him. So he's already almost 1 tower down.
Yeah, he knows he needs to get that damage early, and unfortunately, when you let a giant and little prince get on your tower, that's going to be a problem. And we see the problem fully coming to fruition. Tourist has been a really interesting character in Clash Royale for a little while, and not a name that you heard in competitive circles very much before recently, but he really has suddenly stepped out of being, a ladder semi-pro player into being kind of a threat here amongst the pro ranks.
He's been practicing a lot. I practice with him quite often, and when you practice so many hours, you'll eventually get good. So when I say good, like at a pro level, right? And I think that's what Tourist is right now. He's playing very solid. He's picking very solid decks he's comfortable with, and it's just working. It's just clicking everything. Here you see he goes with the giant. Why not? It's one of the best decks in the meta. Ta decides to go for a drill, one of the best decks in the meta, but he's facing one of the counters of drill. I think Ta here should have addressed giant snipe possibly game 1, so I'm not really sure what the game plan was. You can see Tourist has a lot of defense for drill.
And the defense so far working out phenomenally. 21 seconds left. He is trying to hold on here. He should be able to. And I don't think Ta... Can Ta get back to one more drill in time? He's trying to do his best.
I think he can, but Tourist is just going to go offense.
And does the Goblin touch? Arrows, are they available? Arrows do get us in to sudden death overtime, but now you have a Giant, a Phoenix, 2 bowlers, a Partridge, and a Pear Tree all over that tower. And as you said, Ta able to get a tower down, but not able to hold off the onslaught in the opposite direction. And that is a GG well played. Exactly how Tourist wanted that one to go.
Yeah, when you're down against Giant in these types of matchups, it's very hard to come back because they can just ignore or slightly defend, and they just go for offense troops, and it just overwhelms you.
And I see a few questions here. I see someone, Charlie Perkins, asking, has Jebus been a pro player before? Has he been mostly a coach? Jebus's really rise to the top here has been as a coach, but of course, those of you who've been in Clash Royale for a long time know that Jebus was a key part of a very dangerous Portugal national team that had some very good runs. I think you guys made, what you guys make top 8 at at No Tilt Worlds?
Yeah, and I used to play for LA Gaming. In my team, you had players like Mohammed, Richard, Viper. So I wasn't a pro player maybe, but I was a top semi-pro, I guess you could call it.
And here we go into game number 2. Will Ian play again today? How many matches? We'll be seeing. We're going to crown a champion today, folks, so all the matches will happen today.
Here I expect a beatdown from Tourist, potentially, a Breach Pen deck, and Ta with Arrows, Bomber, Lightning Burn. He could either go for a cycle or, for example, some sort of lava, and he goes for a lava. And let's see if he's facing Peck or Mega Knight.
And Ghost going to go all the way in, and just choosing to ignore the Ghost and double down right at the bridge here. Poison will clean up the pups.
You can ignore the Ghost. It only gets one shot on your tower when it's fully loaded. Tourist might be playing Drill as well. Some type of Drill Breach Fem.
And Michael Schofield asking, why wouldn't drill players touch up the drill placements? Well, Jebaz, let's talk about that. How many viable drill placements really are there in this game?
You have the front, you have the, in this case, right side. If you're playing from the right, if you're playing on the left, you have the right side, the left side, pardon. And sometimes you can go on the back if they have no really good counter in hand. So it just comes down to what they have in hand and what you'll feel like will be the best drill placement. When you're being too predictable in front, they'll just preemptively play it in front. So I feel like the front and the right will be the best ones. Just change it up.
And you saw the attempt there, great timing of Tourist to go to the back with that drill to pull the Valk out of the way. Of course, very easy counter there with the guards.
The idea there was for the Breach Fem troops to connect on tower, but Ta had the guards in cycle, so that didn't happen.
Fireball, the Evo zaps both directions, not going to be enough to get damage from that balloon, but still the lead for Ta is significant, about 1,000 HP if you look top right to bottom left. Smurfblade saying, one niche drill placement I've seen is the very far corner of the map, so the slow travel time lets you get back to a second drill very shortly after the first one arrives.
We haven't seen that one, I think, yet in this competition.
And Ta lavas up once more with 28 seconds left. Good damage by Tourist. Now, Jebaz, a lot of the conventional wisdom of playing against lava has been to play same lane, and we are starting to see that same lane play here finally out of Tourist after some opposite lane attempts.
It's working out for him because he also has Poison, Green, and Tesla Zap, so he has a really solid defense. Ta only got all that damage because I think he kind of knew he was facing a Breach Spam deck, so he went for a smart lava in single. Because if he didn't do that, I think he would have won straight away.
And just the continued tankage happening there, and Tourist gets a fairly easy 1-2 win over Ta in this game. As
you see, the Rich drill on the back was really impactful because he has Breach Fan troops, so it's really hard to defend the back and the front. That was really smart. You need to address two sides at the same time.
Let's go look at exactly what Jebaz is talking about. Here comes that replay. And yep, the drill goes to the side in this first one. And then we are getting ready for, you see the Evo Tesla easily covering everything with the Zap in the mix as well. Guards are so insanely strong right now. Guards to help with the defense. And here you see the lava come down, and immediately Tourist goes full send. Drill to the back, plus the Evo Zap to clear off all of those guards, and one little goblin being tanked for in that exchange, enough to finish everything off. And a big win there for Tourist, who now will move on into our upper bracket finals. So Tourist guaranteed top 3. He will be facing either EGW or Riley for a spot in the grand finals, and the loser will then go down and play against the lower bracket champion. when that one comes up.
We have a Tal Lucas in the loser bracket.
Hopefully we'll get that bracket here in just a couple of moments when they get that one updated. But Tal Lucas in the lower bracket will be very exciting indeed. And, of course, we are going to find out who will be playing against Ian in the lower bracket. So could it be Riley once more? As you see, Ian awaiting his opponent at the moment. Will Ian and Riley meet very early here? Or will Riley get the win over EGW and force Ian to keep winning if he wants a shot at his friend, at his frenemy, if you will? I do see some people saying I don't think Russians are allowed to compete. Tourist is currently living in Turkey, I believe. So I know a lot
he's living in, I'm not sure how you say it, Kazakhstan?
Kazakhstan, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, he's living there with Igor. They both moved there to play CRL and I think study. So, yeah.
Ozone saying Ian and Riley in the finals would be a movie. Yeah, it would be, definitely would be exciting for a lot of the viewers here who are big fans of both of those players. I'd be excited. I'd be very surprised if EGW has a coach with the decks that he uses. Actually, you'd be a good person to ask, Jebas. Is that the case? Does he work with anybody, or it seems like his deck picks have been a little less insane here in this competition than we're used to.
In groups, his deck picks were wild, I guess you could call him. But now he has a coach. He's working with Thunderstruck. You all probably know him.
Yep.
So his deck picks are being more normalized, and he's just playing his comfort, but meta comfort.
So we should be getting...
Out, so.
And they're just getting everything ready for our next matchup here in just one moment. So we'll be having Riley versus EGW in a couple of minutes. And this is a big one, folks, because the winner is guaranteed top 2. Both these guys, or the winner's guaranteed top 3, I mean. So this match, at a minimum, means you get 1,500 euros, 1,500 euros. But 2 losses back-to-back could end up taking you down to 500. So this is potentially a big swing of a matchup for both of these players. Jin Yang asking, Rich, how do you find these coaches on YouTube or what? Like, how does one find these coaches? I know these coaches. I know Jebas from being in the scene for a long time. He's been coaching some of the top players, so we've talked a lot over the years. He's been a guest on this channel a number of times as well. So he's been also a coach for, again, a world champion coach. Top tier. And let's go ahead and jump into it, folks. Riley and EGW, game 1.
Evil skeletons. We usually don't see those. EGW probably playing, for example, could be an RG deck. Riley playing a drill deck, most likely.
Shivam Mishra asking, can you ask CoCaster why Mo losing these days? Mo just won the CRL warm-up tournament and the first CRL monthly final. So, I mean, is there more variability with... I think we've talked about this quite a lot. There's way more variability with these EVOs. They change things a bunch. But also, it's hard to say Mo losing a bunch these days when he just won the first 2 major tournaments of the year.
Yeah, I mean, he lost... most matchups were very bad. Adriel also lost yesterday. The matchups were pretty bad. I mean, sometimes it's out of the player's control. It's just how the meta is, how the matchups function. So it's not that he's bad, he's washed. It's just sometimes it happens, you know. You can have one bad day. Interesting deck pick, game 1 by EGW.
Yeah, Hog Giant Skeleton.
As you can see here, Rich, the only defense EGW has for a drill is probably Bomb Tower and maybe a Time Long because it counters with this tower. So we will sometimes go for the side so we can place the Bomb Tower.
Bomb Tower is a weird... I mean, we don't see a whole lot of Bomb Tower right now.
I'm not exactly sure why they went Bomb Tower game 1. There's not a lot of recruits, there's not a lot of pigs. Maybe they could expect pigs delivery, which is a fine pick against EGW. A lot of players like to do pigs poison delivery, so this hog deck should counter that. But Riley decides with his coach Mohammed. Mohammed is helping him. They probably decided, let's not go for crazy snipes. Let's play what you play on ladder, which is drill, which is bait, and they're playing drill, and it's doing wonders game one.
Good pickup there with the giant skeleton. Got right under that drill. Well timed. Let's see if EGW can make something of that now with a very healthy giant skeleton. Earthquake in and not able to get past anything. And these skeletons here against a very low, but of course, giant skeleton bomb cleans that up.
I mean, this is a pretty good matchup for Riley. So he's just gonna spam some drills, spam some Teslas. If he needs a poison on defense for a giant skeleton push, he will do it. EGW doesn't have a champion, so it's very hard to outcycle Riley's deck. So yeah, it will be a boring one, I think, in my opinion, from now on.
Well, let's see if Riley can keep things boring for his multitude of fans in the chat.
Good bomb towers to defend spam at the bridge, but drill. Oh, he actually defended drill. That was a good defense.
And drill has to come out on defense now. Can EGW get back around one more time, trying to outcycle the double building effect? And just not enough there. And you know, one of the hard parts about this, well, they're not maybe two problems, right? Not only do you have the no champion to get that 3-card cycle to get past the double, try to have any chance to get past this double building situation, but the only really good tank you have to absorb all those dagger shots is 6 elixir, right? It's really hard for EGW to take advantage of those moments. He has to have Hog at the ready.
He's gonna choose to go for a double Hog. That's not a bad call, but I don't think he will do a lot, because he just goes for double structure. Yeah, evil skeletons can do a lot of damage here. Yep, no log. Kills one of the giant skeletons.
Hog trying to get in around the back. Drill not needed. Tesla does pick up at the bridge. Firecracker plus log. Good Skelly's high from Riley to cover, and not enough to take advantage. Here we go. EGW one more time. Going to go Hog right onto the Tesla and try to break past it, and a nice drill to the opposite lane out of Riley. A cover Tesla, and Riley easily wins game number 1. Doesn't even break a sweat.
Yeah, he played really well in the beginning. When you get a lot of damage in single with drill, it's like against almost any matchup, you're in a very good scenario, so we just took advantage of that as well. And beautiful defense with double structure. So.
And I see someone saying, why is Riley allowed to go on calls? Isn't that not allowed and unfair to other opponents? Folks, are you new here? Let me just help you out with something. They have not been regulating whether you are or not on call when you're playing at home for years now, because there's no real way to regulate. In fact, since 2020, our first year of remote, there has never been any rule or regulation about being on calls. People have been on call ever since we moved to a remote environment because it's hard to police in any meaningful way. So everyone can play on call or with somebody. Some players choose to and find it helpful. Some players find it distracting. But yeah, no one... It's not like one person has that advantage and somebody else doesn't. I don't know if EGW's on call with a coach or with friends, but it's pretty much common for everybody.
I mean, you can play in call all year and you can do amazing, but once you're at World Finals or you're at live events, you're gonna have to think by yourself. So you're just putting yourself in a bad position if you do that every single time. But I don't think, Riley is in call right now, probably. But I know he can play the game without people being in call, That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, both of those will happen, of course. And let's see, is this the first match? No, we are pretty deep into our matches today. This is our 4th match of the day. And you want to talk about schedules here. After this one, we will go to the lower bracket, and we'll start getting some more eliminations, get ourselves closer to our top 4. Then we'll come back up. We'll continue in that lower bracket for a little while until we get ourselves down to the big show, the top 3 which we will see later today. AJ Joseph saying, big fan of Ian, Riley, and Rich. And of course, those of you who want to know who am I working with, right down below my name you can see, or above if you're on our vertical stream. And by the way, folks, we are both streaming in vertical and horizontal, whichever one you prefer to watch. If you're here on your mobile device, the link might not work. You might have to go to the channel page and then click on the other stream to find the vertical stream for those of you who want to watch in a vertical view if you're watching on your phone or something like that. But both of those are available to you today. And, oh yeah, so this is interesting. Is Alan coaching both Riley and Ian? I haven't seen someone talk about that in the chat.
As far as I know, I think he does help. I'm not sure if he's the main coach. I think Mo is the main coach for Riley, and Alan maybe just helps him with some ideas. But for Ian, he's the main coach. So I'm not sure what will happen if they both play against each other.
Well, we will see what happens when they get there. You said Mo is the main coach for Riley?
Yeah. They've been practicing a lot. I actually practiced sometimes with them, against them. We actually made a lot of meta deck picks, as you can say. Some of the decks came from our practices, so it's nice to see them competing.
And alongside. SK Shadman with $100 super chat and not even say anything. Just said, just $100 super chat. That's insane. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the support. We need to jump into our game number 2 here, but that is wild, and thank you so much.
Here I expect a beatdown deck from EGW, because that's what he's known for.
Oh, that's
probably be a lava.
Someone's saying it's the guy who said he'd give you $100 if Mo lost. So there you go. Hey, way to pay. Huge likes for everyone. Way to pay off the bet. Man of his word. Let's go.
Oh, I mean, this deck pick is solid from Riley. Him and Mo like to snipe beatdowns with Firecracker Inferno and maybe a Poison. And I mean, EGW just played a cycle deck. You don't think EGW will play 2 cycles in a row. So they just opt to go for a really good deck against beatdown that is really bad against cycle. And I think they got a fairly good matchup. EGW playing RG.
RG Zappies. I feel like I have not seen Zappies once this tournament.
Me neither. They don't do well against, for example, Bomber and Evil Tesla decks.
Well, we did, of course, just see Bomber and Evo Tesla here a minute ago, so... Or Tesla, not even Evo Tesla, right? So...
Yeah, but when Tesla is out, Evo Tesla. So...
Yeah. But the point is that Tesla and Bomber are both out, so that certainly does help the Zappies tremendously.
No Inferno Tower, okay. They opt not to go with Inferno Tower because Evil Zap is open. That's something you see a lot. But you still have Queen. Queen will do an amazing job defending everything. And Evil Valkyrie counters RG pretty nicely.
And 20 Cent saying Allen won't help Ian and Riley when they face each other. Well, that's good coaching policy. And here we go. Evo Valk in front of the Evo Firecracker. Hog will get on. Snowball there. Slows down the tower a little bit. And helps get a lot of damage for Riley.
Watch out because Rage RG is always hard to defend. You can see the Bomber. Look at the Bomber.
Bomber's still alive. Firecracker needs to get on there quickly. It does. Bomb tower to hold. 11:21 to 10:51. 13 seconds left in regulation time. Fireball in on the Firecracker, and that opens up one more Royal Giant shot. Does Riley go hog? Yes, he does. Gets it right in there. The high tombstone. We don't need a Firecracker, I believe. This should be enough DPS to stop it. Is it? No, it just barely does with the King Tower activation.
That Firecracker gets a shot on tower, cleans the Evo Bomber pretty nice. He's going to go hog at 4 because that's a good hog. And he's going to EQ and he's probably going to take the game.
Earthquake in. Firecracker, Fisherman goes to pull, holding on, 243. Firecracker tries to get some splash on tower and does. 179 left. And now last gasp attempt from EGW.
EQ Snowball does it. Let's see if he gets it in time. He does.
And EQ will finish things off. That is a 2-game win for Riley, who now will find himself in the upper bracket final, guaranteed top 3 here in this competition.
Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of tools. It was only close because of the king of the tower, honestly, because RG gets a lot of shots when the tower is not loaded, but still he managed to pull through on defense, and he still won the game.
And I see the chat very excited for Riley. Going to throw a bunch of these up here on the chat right now. One of the more popular people, but this is, I mean, I've memed it. You know, I posted a picture from Worlds with Ian and Riley because my chat for the last year of all of 23, all they asked was, where's Ian and where's Riley? Well, here you go, folks. Ian and Riley both here. The question is, can Ian get back to a rematch with Riley? And that will probably make the whole chat go insane if these two meet one more time today.
I think last year Riley only played CRL events, but these ones are also counting for CRL, so we're gonna see him a lot more this year.
I was literally watching Riley last night. Says Noah Pedraza. That's Molite talking. No, this is Jeba's talking, former coach of Molite. And let's see. W. Gobby, someone says, is it Tourist against Riley now? That will be one of our matches coming up, but right now, our next matchup is going to be Ta versus Lucas in an elimination matchup. Let's see. Charlie Perkins saying, what do the two of us think on why in the first 2 days we didn't see Bomb Tower, but now we see it in back-to-back games of Bomb Tower? Thoughts on that one, Jebus?
I think from EGW side, he wanted to snipe Hoggies. From Riley side, I don't think there was a lot of thought process. They just played Bomb Tower because it is in an F Tesla, and Evo's app is open, so Inferno is not really the most viable option. I think that's why they decided to go for the Bomb Tower.
And did Riley win the winner's bracket? Yes, they should be giving us the bracket here in a minute. Let's see. There we go. Now we have our lower bracket where we are now. Ta and Lucas about to play in an elimination match. Winner will stay along and make the top 4. Loser will be out in top 6 with $500. Then EGW and Ian. And we'll see if Ian can keep his hopes alive at a rematch with his friend and a run at the title. The winner of those two matches will meet in our lower bracket semifinal, LB round 5, R5 you see there on this one. And then the winner of that will go on to the lower bracket final, where they will await the loser of Riley and Tourist. So that's the current journey here in our lower bracket. Right now, in order to make it to the grand finals, one of these 4 players has to win 3 matches in a row against very stiff competition. Any one of those lost, and you are out. Out with some money, out with some points towards our CRL Community Golden Ticket. This is one of the 4 community events this year, awarding points towards that shot. And Sloysire saying, did Moogie be limited out from 16th? Moogie didn't play. Moogie does not play in anything but CRL, pretty much. I think Moogie puts his phone away. Somewhere and then picks it up to push the top 1,000 on ranked and then play CRL. He does not play. I don't think I've ever even seen him in a community tournament.
No. But I've seen him on ladder this last week, so.
Hamad asking, what does Jebas think of the new spell? Which deck will it work with? Jebas, I know almost nothing about it. I have not I've not watched much of the videos for it. I'm going to, of course, get into it more soon. But what are your thoughts on the new Void spell?
If you guys seen the gameplay, I think it will be very solid against beefy troops because it kills almost any troop in the game. I don't know if you know this, Rich, but it counters Sparky. It kills the full HP Sparky. And I think it will be good paired with spells that can kill squishy troops, for example, arrows and Zap, those could work pretty well because you kill the squishy troops and you can also kill the beefy troops with Void.
So we'll see the impact, and of course, in what's been a very beat down meta, that could be very interesting. And yes, chat, don't forget this dono. Martha Martinez saying $100 if Riley and Ian face off. So we'll see if that does end up happening. That would make this a pretty killer streaming day.
I'm pretty sure Void, the new spell, is the only spell that kills Evil Wizard as well. So that's huge.
That is pretty big. Let's go ahead and jump into game 1 of this elimination matchup, Ta and Lucas. And looking back at Ta's previous matchup, he did separate Evo Zap and Bomber, so not running the same combinations over and over again.
Playing Bomber and Evo Zap. I always say this to my players. When someone is playing Zap and Evo Bomber, you gotta make it count because those are probably the two best cards in the game, the Evos, I mean. So you gotta win it, yes or yes. We see Lucas with probably an E-Giant. Yep. And Ta playing one of his bread and butters, with it, which is Goblin Giant, Giant Skeleton. He's been practicing this deck a lot. You're gonna see the power of Giant Skeleton and Goblin Giant here. Looks a pretty winnable matchup for Ta, but he needs to do some damage in single.
This is interesting. I think we've seen a lot of E-Giant, and it feels like E-Giant has been struggling dramatically in these competitions. I understand maybe why you might make a pick for E-Giant game 2 or game 3. Why are we seeing E-Giant from Lucas game 1 here?
I'm not sure which threats they were trying to cover. Maybe they were trying to cover lava, but if you're trying in RG, but if you're trying to cover, for example, Giant Skeleton decks, that's not the play to pick E-Giant. I don't really like E-Giant's spot on the meta right now, so I'm not exactly sure. But the Evil Valkyrie definitely could be for RG, because the Evil Valkyrie defends RG pretty nicely.
And Lucas setting up Electro Giant one more time in the back corner just as we go into double elixir time. And 6 dropped into the lane, now 9 dropped into the lane to contend with the Electro Giant and separate it from those support troops behind the Goblin.
Ta's Evo Bomber will be very solid on this matchup, as Lucas doesn't have a Barbaro to clean it up. Ta's last card is Lightning. He's not playing it yet.
And Ta trying to get himself back to the Fisherman here for the King Tower pull, and there it goes. But a nice NATO to stop that from Lucas, and this is going to be a ton of damage coming in as Lightning gets the little Prince off, and now the Phoenix connects, and that is a huge exchange for Lucas as we enter sudden death.
So far, so good by Lucas, playing very solid defense. Always tanking the pushes with E-Giant. Sometimes you don't even play E-Giant to get damage, you're just playing it to be able to defend cleanly. Here, as you can see, Ta gets a free bomber damage. That's really hard for Lucas to defend. Ta needs to get on the cycle and just start going offense, because only going on defense won't do justice for him. This E-Giant was, I think, maybe bad from Lucas, because the other side is being punished by, but he still managed to defend, so maybe it wasn't the worst E-Giant in the world.
Things a little tighter now. 21-58, 20-35 in the opposite lane here to the 18-06. Lucas lead tenuous as we enter the final minute. Triple elixir about to kick in.
We'll see a more aggro Ta now. Beautiful Evil Zap to connect.
Wow, a ton of damage from it as well. And
Evo
here we
Bomber.
go.
He can't defend the Evo Bomber. He got 4 hits this game with Evo Bomber. I'm not sure how much damage is that, but it's a lot. Just like that, he gets the lead. Now he can just defend and cycle some lightnings.
768, 1489. Lucas has to get a breakthrough, but we're seeing some of the problem with Electro Giant here. As, you know, one of the, you were talking, Jebas, about some of the Electro Giant problems, and does he stop the Fisherman from getting to the E-Giant? And he does. Electro Giant has one really weird problem in the Dagger Duchess meta, is that when the Dagger Duchess is low, the damage output goes way down.
I think he'll steal one.
Oh my word. And the NATO to finish things off. A very close finish and a great win here by Lucas in game number 1.
Lucas won when, with this last E-Giant push, he predicted the Fisherman with the Bomber. Just that small interaction made the E-Giant go to tower, get a bit of chip, and Lightning Cycle would do the trick.
And I think I have that exact replay ready to rock. Let's go ahead and let me get that queued up. And here we go. Let's take a look at exactly what Jebas is talking about. As you see here with about 38 seconds left. Is this the exchange or no? This must be an earlier one here. This is a much earlier exchange.
This is where he got a lot of damage. Was a pretty good push. I really liked how Lucas played in the beginning. He knows he can't let Ta get comfortable, so he just was trying to go E-Giant to defend while pressuring, so that was good. And he got a lot of damage here.
And let's see, I think maybe this is the correct replay. You see here at the bridge, E-Giant comes down, Bomber predicts the Fisherman, exactly what you were talking about. And the Lightning to clear off the Little Prince, E-Giant gets in deep, and the Guardian... That Guardian, that's interesting. If that had been the other side, Jebas, if the Little Prince had been to the outside rather than inside, that Guardian might have knocked the E-Giant back into Fisherman range.
Yeah, or it would have knocked him a little bit further, like back. Maybe it wasn't the greatest placement from Ta as well. But yeah, once you get the Fisherman out, you can get some damage with E-Giant. And since the game was going to end, it just needed that.
People making some pretty big claims here on the... Hold on, let me pop out. People making some pretty big claims in the chat about their donation possibilities. So I'm putting receipts out here on the stream, folks. Putting out the receipts to see what happens. Let's go ahead and jump into game number 2 for Lucas and Ta. Lucas with match point. And after the Bomber, Fisherman did get on the Phoenix Egg. That is correct. And people are asking who's commentating with me? World Champion Clash Royale League coach Jebas.
Oh, they went straight in. Lightning out. Lucas probably playing a Queen deck. Yeah, this is a deck pick they've been doing a lot. Lightning out, Minor Queen Tesla. You can't go wrong with that. And Lightning out from Lucas. So Ta is playing probably a Graveyard with Queen. As you can see, Rich, you can't go wrong with Lightning out, you go Queen. It's so solid on this meta.
And also been solid in the right hands, and I think that's the big thing. In the right hands, this minor deck has been phenomenal. But it definitely takes... I think that people have had to really recalibrate how they think about minor play in this new version, in this Dagger Duchess meta.
Yeah, this minor deck suffers a lot, for example, to Giant Skeleton. It suffers a bit to Bomber, and it suffers a bit to Evil Zep. I just had 3 cards that are out, and alongside Lightning, you have a Tesla and Queen, which are very hard to kill. Something to counteract that would be, for example, RG Monk, but there's no Fisherman, so there was a lot of stuff out, so just props to Lucas for picking a very solid one. Ta, going for the Graveyard pick, I think. He's playing Graveyard or a Drill. But the thing is, I think Minor counters it, so at the end of the day, they both picked very solidly, but Lucas played the most solid pick here, I think.
So here we go. First Graveyard in from Ta as we enter into double Elixir. Poison to work offensively against the tower, and the Archer Queen gets a nice little chunk here to open things up. Down to
Ta misclicked Tommy's clicked the arrows there. He wanted to predict the evil skeletons, but he killed the evil skeletons either way, so he wasted 3 elixir there and didn't get any damage back.
And cycling Archer Queen one more time. Interesting Tesla setup here from Lucas. Going to work against that graveyard when the skellies start popping.
It defends the graveyard and it defends the tank if he needs to, because sometimes it can be tricky for him to defend the tanks.
Archer 8 asking, what are the decks shown on the left of the screen? Those are the decks they already used. We are in duel mode. You may not repeat any cards within a single best of 3, so those are the decks that these two players used in the previous game. And if we go to a game 3, you'll see all of them.
I really like this double graveyard from Ta. He managed to get his to let his queen stay alive, and with that he got some damage. The key here will be from both players who can defend the queen better, get the 3-card cycle going. You can see Lucas going for the queen on the other side, so they attack and poison it.
And here we go, Ice Golem to control. Evo Tesla comes out for a little bit more of the same, log clearing the graveyard. Archer Queen on the right-hand side will require a response. It's going to be the Evo Tesla, or this is the classic Tesla there for it, and this Ghost does need some crowd control. And a minute 15 left. Graveyard obviously can put up a lot of damage very quickly. What's the game plan for Lucas from this point forward?
He needs to, I think first of all, he needs to tank the Dagger Duchess with, for example, the Ice Golem, so the miner gets damage. If he can do that, I feel he will most likely lose to Graveyard Chip. And Ta also knows that he's really fighting the bridge, so stuff don't break through. As you can see, the Ice Golem breaks through. The miner is very annoying on defense. Ice Golem gets some chips, as you see. Now this is just miner spamming. The tower is so low, the miner will just get a lot of chip. Ta needs to focus a lot on defense, but if he's focusing a lot of defense, he can't really cycle a lot of graveyards. The key here for Ta is cycling a lot of graveyards. He's not being allowed to. So you see the first graveyard in triple with 19 seconds left. But the spam from the miner, the Ghost, Ice Golem is too much.
Good pickup, Ice Spirit plus Knight to stop that one. Poisons in on both sides. Lucas going to probably lose this one to the spell value. Miner tries to go and get on tower, doesn't do it, and we are going to a game number 3 in this elimination matchup.
I didn't see, I'm really sorry for everyone who was watching, I didn't see Ta's HP exactly. I thought he was losing on HP, but he managed to defend the miner as well. When I saw the double miner, I thought it was over, because you would get a lot of damage, but he did a little Ice Spirit Tesla there to defend the second miner. I think that's what won him the game.
Yeah, the control of the miners was really, really good from Ta in that matchup. Did a great job of using the Ice Spirit for resets, and Lucas kind of in a funky spot there because of that Ice Spirit being so readily available for those resets. So we'll see what they have going for game number 3. Let's talk about our decks from games 1 and 2. So Ta has Lightning, Zap, Little Prince, Archer Queen, Poison, Tesla, Arrows. All of those things are out here. Lucas, on the other side of things, has Lightning gone, has NATO gone. We used Little Prince and Archer Queen as well, and then the Tesla, Log, and Poison for him. So let's start on the Lucas side. Seeing what's out on the side of Ta. Jebus, what are your thoughts on good deck picks for Lucas here?
The most obvious would be RG, since he played Tesla and Guards Queen. RG wouldn't be bad, but I mean, you're playing at a high level here, so I don't think RG is 100% the answer. And from Ta's side, Ta can pick, for example, Drill, because Miner goes out and E-Giant out, which are annoying. He could also go, for example, for a Golem deck, because Poison and E-Giant out. In Golem counters RG, so maybe Lucas can also go something Firecracker-ish, like something Ian did, you know? Bomber is out, Poison is out, he could definitely try those with an Inferno Tower.
And I see,
yeah.
Astronaut Gaming's asked a lot of times, can you ask your host what he thinks about the meta next season? Save that question from when we have some downtime. We're going to stay kind of dialed into the game itself here, and then we'll talk about that more a little bit later. Doc, Shane, Rich, and Jebez, why hasn't Fireball been using any of them? We've seen a lot of Fireball today. Not really sure what you're talking about. We've seen a lot more of Lightning and Poison, but we have definitely seen Fireball today, including from Ta a little bit earlier.
Poison is just a better spell to kill, for example, pumps that have not been played yet, and to kill the troops behind. And Lightning also to kill the troops behind and to break through with stuff like Giants and P.E.K.K.A.s, you know?
All right, here we go.
Most meta.
Game 3. Again, this is an elimination match. Winner will will make it to the top 4. Loser is out.
Yeah, Luke is going for a Cracker deck. As I said, could be a Hog, could be a Hoggies. I'd say it would be Hoggies with, let's say, delivery, because he needs to address, or he can also be playing Zap Inferno, which wouldn't be terrible. Drill, okay. And Ta. Is Ta playing P.E.K.K.A.? I'm not sure.
Ta certainly has a lot of the pieces for a P.E.K.K.A. deck, but with Lucas still having guards open, and you see goblins here as well, maybe a little different look at bridge spam. Of course, maybe he was also thinking he'd be up against RG as you were thinking.
The Phoenix is really calling me for the RG. Yeah, it's just bridge spam with recruits, probably a Fireball. As someone was asking, why no Fireball? There you got it, Fireball. This Firecracker will be amazing for Lucas.
Yeah, so far difficulty getting to that Firecracker. Looks like it'll be a problem. King Tower activation in for Ta as we pass halfway through our first 3.
And he has Bomb Tower, which is really good to defend the recruits. They probably didn't go Inferno because it could be risky.
And a Musketeer.
What year is this? Yeah, they really tried to address the RG here.
What an absolutely fascinating choice here. And yeah, you said, really trying to address the RG. Well, the once everywhere, now a recluse Musketeer making an appearance. I think maybe the first appearance of this tournament.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Lucas' last card is Fireball, so it's going to be really rough for Ta to break through.
3-3 split with the 6-man for Ta as we go into the final 20 before sudden death overtime. It's been all Lucas all the way. Fireball does finally come out and get onto the Firecracker. And this is a kind of a funky bridge spam deck out of Ta. Obviously, you're saying that you like the advantage here for Lucas. What would Ta need to do in order to mitigate that advantage?
He needs to try and overwhelm him on a lane where the Duchess doesn't have shots, but even the Duchess not having shots, he has a Cracker, which is pretty annoying. And he has double structure. So, as you can see, he still breaks through with all of that. The bad thing for Lucas here is that his Fireball doesn't do a lot. He doesn't kill anything on the board, so.
And you do see some good reflection onto the Duchess on the left-hand lane, but the dual lane pressure has done its work so far. Lucas way behind here and trying to find a little way to close the gap, but now it's a pretty big one for him to overcome.
Ty's in a really good spot because he has the damage advantage, so he's just gonna try to spam, throw some fireballs, so Lucas doesn't spam a lot of drills.
And the Evo Zap does clear against the Lumberjack, but not quite in time to create enough opportunity for the drill to get real damage. Drill in one more time, and this is Lucas just spamming these drills at this point, trying to find some way.
There's no barb. He needs to go in, or otherwise he's gonna lose. And Lucas needs to somehow defend while going in. Let's see if he can do it.
And Bomb Tower needs to stay alive for Lucas, and it does. He needs to get on offense very quickly. 12:54 is the mark he has to overcome. But the connection, no, not quite. Barbs are on tower, though, and that should be enough. It is Ta with a gutsy comeback performance to take the win and make it into our top 4.
Top played it really well. As I said, Rich, you might not have all the defense you want, all the offense you want, but all it takes is one big push against this tower, and you can really get some damage in. And when you break through, you need to make sure you're gonna get most of your damage there. And Ta got the advantage, and in the end, he just played it perfectly. Like I said, just going in on offense, so Lucas couldn't go in on his own offense.
So we'll get the bracket up here in just a couple of moments, but Ta now making it into our top 4. And here we take a look at that lower bracket as he will await the winner of EGW and Ian. Big win here for Ta. Well, I'm going to show you guys the prize pool after we look through this bracket, but big one for Ta to stay alive. Lucas will leave with 500 euros. And now Ta gets a bit of a break as he awaits either EGW or Ian. The winner of that will be guaranteed a top 3 spot. And we'll have our next matchup here in just a couple of moments. Here's another look at the prize pool as what's at stake now. Ta has doubled up his money, guaranteed 1,000 euros. And every win from here on out for him will jump that money dramatically. One more win gets him 1,500. Another win guarantees 3,000. And then he would have to double win against our upper bracket champion to get that 7,500. We'll see if he's able to do it or if someone else makes that run or if our upper bracket champion is able to defend that bolstered position. Now, I did see a question earlier, now that we're in a little bit of a break between games, and it was, how do you think some of these updates will affect the meta as we go into our next month?
Hopefully, we won't see Zep, Bomber, Tesla being so dominant on the meta, and we can see more variety of decks. I saw that Duchess got a bit of a nerf on the HP. I think we'll still see a lot of Duchess because it's the tower with the most HP, if I'm not mistaken. So it will be interesting to see. But I think the meta will be less broken. I guess you could call it like that, which we'll see more cards being viable.
That will be a very interesting change for us to see. I do think that it's been... I haven't hated this meta, if only because it's been so different from what we've had for the last couple of years. So it's been nice to see a shift, but of course it'll be nice to see things start to even out a little bit as time goes forward.
I think with all the evils that we have and all the cards getting added, etc., we needed monthly balance changes because it's really hard to play on a 3-month balance changes.
Yeah, I also agree, but you know that's not up to us, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they went back to a 2-month balance schedule, didn't they, or a 10-week one? I don't remember exactly.
Maybe I said 3, but maybe I'm confusing it in 2. Yeah. We see Ian doing the same exact pick as Riley. They also like to copy or just play the game ones of other opponents, which is not bad. If it worked the first time, it will work probably the second time. Here we see a crazy deck by EGW, probably Mega Knight Hoggies. Let's see EGW spells. Those are the most important because if he can't deal with that Bomber and those Evil Skeletons, Ian probably takes this.
And this is what you want to see from EGW. He's known for playing crazy decks, for going outside of the meta, and it's kind of what's made him successful in a lot of these semi-pro competitions in 2023.
Yeah, he's so good with them. I think he should just open with them. Just try to see with his coach what they expect, and just try to open with one of his craziness.
So here we go. First 90 seconds away. And so far, just a little bit of chip both directions. Drill in one more time for Ian. Goblins go for the pickup in the back. And little Evo Bomber, the Mega Knight gets right on top of it. And that was the big question, right? Is he going Piggy's Mega Knight? That is the choice here. EGW very low on Elixir. Ian, as often, calling good game already as, wow, Firecracker gets on with the Evo Burn plus the Royal Ghost connection.
He took a lot of damage because he misplayed his Evil Skeletons. If he didn't misplace his Evil Skeletons, he would have defended that more easily. Here we see EGW playing as he knows, spamming because he knows Ian is down in Elixir. You can see Ian is really struggling on defense, and EGW is just taking advantage of that, as he should.
This defense does hold, and somehow Ian not only defends but comes out slightly up on Elixir, so now it's his turn to fire back. The poison will get good value here, as now the Dagger Duchess can more than handle those Skelly drags. Slight Elixir advantage right now for EGW, so he sets up the Mega Knight in the back as Ian cycles log for chip and to get the right cards in his hand.
Evo Bomber always gets on tower there. That's not a bad play. People might think it's a bad play, but he's getting the damage he needs on offense. And on defense, he should be fine, unless he overcommits.
And someone asking, how do you pronounce my last name? It's Slayton. Rich Slayton. Gets said a fair amount, but if you haven't heard it before, there you go. Guardian to cover. 1377, very close here.
These Skeleton Dragons are being so annoying. Beautiful Evo Bomber by Ian. He sees the vision, gets a hit. That was just knowing that the Evo Bomber would connect there. He got 3 Evo Bomber connections. That's huge. And just like that, he takes the lead.
Final 75. Earthquake Cycle trying to open things up. Some of those Skellies, oh my word, some of the Evo Skellies survive, distracting that Mega Knight, really creating some problems at the bridge. But now Evo Firecracker gets a beautiful lineup and opens up a significant lead. But then the shot the opposite direction. This is an absolute back and forth battle.
Here, Ian might have overcommitted with the poison. And not sure if he'll be able to defend all of this.
Mega Knight really threatening, and the tower does go down. Game number 1 for EGW.
Yeah, he overcommitted with the poison, and EGW is just playing one of his best decks, so he managed to punish Ian very hard there. EGW's Firecracker was also beautiful. Ian doesn't have a lot of ways to take the Firecracker out besides poison. So he got, I think, 2 shots, and 2 Evo Firecracker shots do a lot of damage.
Let's take a look at the replay from those final moments here, and you see this Firecracker getting so much damage there, and Ian saying, hey, I need to get something back. And so he just throws that poison out with, we're in triple Elixir, right? This is not, we're in the first minute, Jebbas. This was not the end of the game. And as you said, I think that poison was a little bit of an overcommitment and not necessary yet.
I understood the vision, but EGW also knew he was low. So he just punished. I think he needed to play a bit more conservatively. Here the Firecracker on the Guardian was the dagger.
The dagger indeed. And we'll see this one more time as the Ghost completely drains. Leaves that Dagger Duchess in a desert, if you will, and everything comes on in. No stopping that one for Ian.
This is also the problem of Evo Skeletons. When Evo Zap is open, the Skeletons won't do much, you know? Evo Skeletons are such a good trade against most cards, but if you have a Zap, they'll just get cleaned. And Evo Zap paired with EQ kills everything on Ian's defense, so that was also hard for Ian to manage.
And yeah, Ian should have just defended, says Edwin. Doc saying Jebba's and Rich. Is Hog Rider game a viable deck in this meta? Depends.
You can make it work, but you need good tanks. For example, Hog Monk is a very used deck on competitive because the Monk tanks for a lot of time, and it takes out the daggers, and you get a lot of damage with it too.
And I see a question here. Rich, what headphones do you use? These are the Audio Technica BPHS ones. They're broadcast quality headsets, which is why I sound broadcast quality alongside with my dulcet tones and well-managed voice. But no, these are a nice set of headphones. Mm-hmm. And I like wearing headphones for broadcasting rather than using a microphone because then I can move my head around. Because I'm also doing a lot. When I'm not on camera, I'm over here touching stuff. I'm looking at things here, looking at things here. I'm doing a whole lot of things at once, so this keeps my voice consistent throughout the stream rather than the sound kind of going like, hey, I'm over here talking now, and now I'm over here talking, right? So that's kind of the point of the broadcast headset, as opposed to the mic staying right in place. When's the next competition? I don't remember, but I'll try to look that one up. I want some Evo Mortar Giant Skeleton Sparky from EGW. Yeah, we do. We do need it. And, well, let me go ahead and... Oh, we do have a warning. We are waiting for... Ian is in trouble. He did just receive a warning for not accepting matches quickly enough. He does get in, though. So let's go ahead and check it out.
You have one warning per set. I think it's fine. I think it's useful because when you're really trying to make the perfect deck, sorta, it's not terrible to use it. Ian playing E-Giant. EGW brings out one of his favorite cards, Giant Skeleton. Love it. EGW could be playing an RG deck.
Remember, game number 1, EGW did already use Evo Zap. Tesla used for Ian in game number 1, and you're seeing the mortar come out here with the E-Giant.
Mm-hmm. I think I like this. I mean, it depends on the cards EGW has, but I like it for him due to the fact he has Giant Skeleton and Bomber. Ian doesn't have the Evil Valkyrie to defend, for example, the RG as Lucas had, and he doesn't have a cannon, so Mortar is a bit of a waste here. You will see late game Giant Skeletons tanking for the tower, and the RG will probably connect. Bowler, not the greatest as well against RG matchups. So they're both playing it slow though.
Very slow indeed. And see Liam Matthews saying, what sort of warning was that for? Sounds stupid. You have a certain amount of time to accept or request games inside the clan in order to make sure that people don't just spend 10 minutes preparing their decks. So you have a certain amount of time to accept, and if you don't accept within a certain amount of time, you first get a warning, and then if you still don't accept, then you get a game loss. So otherwise, we would be here for 8 hours today as players sat there and debated their decks forever. So that's the purpose of the rule.
EGW is bringing a Lightning. That's huge for him. Lightning gonna kill all the troops. Evo Bomber predicted by Ian. Beautifully played by Ian. But like I said, Rich, he has Giant Skeleton, he has Lightning. It's gonna be very hard for Ian to get any sort of damage. As you can see, this is one of the big pushes of this RG deck. But I think he will defend it. Evo Mortar did an amazing job on defense.
And now E-Giant will come out on offense. Phoenix will stay alive behind the E-Giant for a little bit, which is great for Ian, but that Fisherman, a big problem. NATO, of course, to pull it all together. Lightning trying to get the E-Giant onto tower. Will it get a hit? And that's a very important hit here that at least temporarily gives Ian the lead.
Yeah, that was beautifully played by Ian. He held on to the NATO because of the fisherman. You always need to do that in these sort of matchups. Not the greatest of RGs because you need the giant skeleton to tank. I know he didn't have it, so you just gotta get back to it.
Giant Skeleton sets up in the back. Ian goes E-Giant in the corner. 90 seconds left. Lead for Ian, 28-87 to 27-01 against the typically enigmatic, but right now on meta, EGW. Bomber behind, or Bowler behind the E-Giant. And not going to get much from it, but holding here in the bridge fight for now.
Yep. This is an RG. Whenever he has it, he's deciding to just try to kill the troops.
And Ian was that trying to preserve the mortar?
Yeah, Ian just playing solid defense, making it hard for this. This is an E-Giant, so he doesn't go on offense. EGW.
Ooh, that's a huge lightning. Can the E-Giant get there? No, the Electro Spirit will stop it. Lead right now. A little over 100 HP for EGW.
Evo Bomber connection, just like that. EGW has the lead. He's gonna go on offense, so Ian can't go in stealth. He might get a lightning on tower. He doesn't have elixir for the lightning. This is gonna be a spell race.
And trying to hold back the RG. Lightning will open things up. RG will connect, and that is the end of Ian's run here at the Calalas Cup. The hope of an Ian Riley rematch has been dashed. You'll have to wait until they do it one more time on their own channel, which I'm sure will happen probably about 100 times, to be honest, on their own channel. But unfortunately for Ian, EGW gets the better of him here today.
I mean, Ian was playing solid all game long, but one Evo Bomber connection made EGW have the lead, and when EGW has the lead as the giant skeleton deck, Ian needs to make something happen. He overcommitted on offense and RG connected. But at the end of the day, I think Ian played really well that matchup.
Ian did pretty much as well as he could and made some good opportunities, but again, I'll say this again, I do not like E-Giant in this meta. And oh, hey, check this out. Andrew Guy on vacation. Yo, Rich and Jebba's from Vietnam. You guys asked where Andrew Guy is. He's in Vietnam right now, which I know. I believe he's on a vacation trip, enjoying himself. Good to see you, bud. Can't wait to get back in the booth with you very soon. He'll have to carry in May, as I'm not going to be there for the monthly final in May. Missing that for my sister's wedding, but happy to see Andrew here in the chat. And let's take a look at the losers bracket, the lower bracket here. Top four, Ta and EGW. The winner of that will go on to await the loser of our upper bracket. Ta and EGW now both guaranteed a minimum of $1,000. Or 1,000 euros, to be more specific.
Is it euros? Okay.
It's euros, yes. It's euros, not dollars.
Okay. Ta, EGW. Who do you got it taking it?
I mean, you have to pick Ta in this situation. Ta's been playing so well and so cleanly. EGW, I think that I'm wondering if maybe the plan that Ian came out with against EGW was more expecting the unexpected, right? More expecting the wild stuff from EGW. Obviously the MK Hogs was kind of in line with EGW's style, but then you talk about game number 2, and EGW just went very simple. He saw Tesla out, as you talked about earlier, and went RG, and Ian with the Mortar E-Giant, just kind of a funky pick here.
I think he had Lightning, EGW, for a potential Inferno Tower. People have been playing it a lot against him. And Ian played the E-Giant. I don't really like the Mortar on the E-Giant versus EGW, personally. The rest of the deck, I think it's totally fine. But maybe he needed, for example, a cannon and then another Evo. But with Evo Bomber open, I don't usually like to run E-Giant. I think he could have went for something else, surely.
And yeah, the Evo Bomber, as we saw, kind of put the nail in the coffin, as you mentioned, during those moments, as it absolutely got a perfect connection, huge amount of damage, and you know the Evo Bomber it'll be nice to see it with a little less firepower in the future. And we should have our next matchup ready in just a second here, as
Ta,
the players are getting good.
EGW?
Yeah, Ta EGW.
Okay.
And here we go, jumping right into it.
I really like this matchup for Ta because his deck pool is pretty solid against EGW's deck pool. So let's see. We see a Zap cycled. It's kind of interesting how you went from just cycling cards normally to cycling the Evos first. That's a must.
Yeah, I mean,
these
complete.
Days.
When Evo RG first came out, a common play was RG to open behind tower, right? Which completely went counter to what we think about in traditional RG play before Evos.
I think EGW is playing a Giant Pump. And another E-Giant from Ta. I don't like this pick because everyone is spamming it against EGW, and EGW brought a P.E.K.K.A. So EGW, not sure if he was looking for something like this, but I think he got a decent matchup.
And a $5 super chat from Who saying, what is 1,000 euros in dollars? How come Supercell cannot afford to pay in USD like we the players have to? Well, first of all, Who, just so you know, people from around the world pay in their own currencies. It's not like everyone pays in US dollars. People in Europe who are on the euro pay in euros. And 1,000 euros is actually more than $1,000. It's $1,077. So Supercell's actually paying more money by paying that 1,000 in this 15,000 euro prize pool in euros rather than $15,000. Let me see what 15,000 euros is in dollars.
It's pretty much the same right now.
It's $16,158. So it's an extra $1,000 when you to the prize pool versus when it's in euros.
Here, this deck with the healer was made by EGW in groups, so he's rocking it out. And the key thing for Ta here will be his Phoenix. It's very hard for EGW to kill the Phoenix. He doesn't have any air cards besides Executioner, so he needs to take advantage of that. I think this game will be very defensive from Ta. He has the lead. He will try to go very defensively and get maybe 1 or 2 Evo Bomber chips and Lightnings, and he wins the game. Let's see if EGW can counteract that with big pushes.
I know someone in the vertical chat earlier asked, why is there so little cannon? We've seen more cannon today than we've seen throughout this competition.
As I said, EGW needs to go very aggro. He gets the Executioner on tower, and just like that, he takes the lead, and he's in a beautiful spot because he has Pump. Pump usually good against Lightning decks, and he has a P.E.K.K.A. for the E-Giant, so he's doing solid. And as I said,
wow.
As I said, Evo Bomber is so good against E-Giant decks, so he can also get damage from there. Look at the healer.
The healer doing work. The Evo Bomber getting a double connection on the Dagger Duchess on the right-hand side. And now EGW with a massive lead against Ta in this, doing what he does best, getting a little bit out there with his picks.
He puts the E-Giant in front of the P.E.K.K.A. because the Giant doesn't really matter. It's easily defended. The P.E.K.K.A. it's really hard to defend, especially when you have no ammo. And look at the Executioner behind with the healer. It's doing work.
Yeah, this was, I mean, the NATO will finish it off. Might not even be necessary to get the NATO in there. That was absolutely devastating. Let me go ahead and queue up the replay of the moment that really turned this whole thing on its head. I think I got it correct. Let's go take a look at it now. And you can see here the kite across with the E-Giant. But all that does is leave that Executioner that was already had gotten some shots on that left-hand side. P.E.K.K.A. runs away, and that P.E.K.K.A. tanks a couple of big shots, keeping the Dagger Duchess on the right-hand side very low. Evo Bomber connects, and still low on the left-hand side. The Evo Zap comes in, and this Battle Healer keeping everything up, and this just goes from bad to worse for Ta.
Yeah, this meta, when you're playing the defensive role, it's very hard for you to win games because the constant pressure just chips you out most of the time.
And I see someone saying, let's see, EGW showing meta isn't everything. And it's interesting, right? Because that's part of why people have asked why they don't use in-game duels versus this where it's duels where they can change their decks. And this kind of creativity isn't available to you in in-game duels, right? It's not there in in-game duels because you have to pre-select, pre-build your 4 decks, and you have to build to cover a lot of stuff. It really kind of ruins ingenuity. But stuff like this can come out when we use these regular duels, when we use the same format, no repeating cards, but we do it without having to pre-build, pre-submit those decks. That's a huge difference in what these players are able to do and have fun with. So let's go ahead and see in Game 2 if EGW keeps it up with some different action.
He played Pekka NATO Executioner, so Ta can definitely go for a beatdown here. Goes for recruits. EGW probably rocking RG or Mortar deck, which he's known for, but hasn't played it yet.
Hunter in here behind these recruits, so
probably an RG deck.
Yeah, probably RG. We'll see a Fisherman in there.
Yeah, EGW probably rocking Mortar. Mortar Bait. A deck that he's been known for in the old metas. No Bomber, and no Bomber, no NATO, so he decides to play Recruit's Bait. The key thing will be Ta spells. Let's see what Ta brings to the table. He needs Firewall.
Lightning and NATO already played for Ta in this one. Evo, Zap, and NATO played for EGW in our previous matchup.
Usually you run Arrows Rage or Fireball Rage. Let's see which ones Ta brings. I think Fireball Arrows would be the best here to kill minions. Minions can be a nuisance.
And a little skirmish at the bridge results in not very much, but Ta going to go ahead and double down, get some protection in front of the Hunter in the form of that Royal Giant. Arrows clear that off. And this RG should get taken care of. I think it might get one here. And it does get a second one as well. Mine are not quite able to do enough in time. And that is a big lead opened up for Ta as we go into double elixir.
Yeah, and I feel like he just wanted to cycle his RG so he could get to the Eve RG. That's the one that's going to get damage. And he still gets 2 hits, which is beautiful. So here he's just going to try to play some clean defense. And whenever he has a counter push, he will go for it.
Pressure on the right-hand side. Miner going to go to the back now. Duchess is completely empty. And that guard is going to keep that Fisherman distracted long enough to get some good damage out of the Miner. 2789 on the right-hand lane, 2329 on EGW's top left-hand tower. Ta with a lead here over EGW as he gets his Evo recruits on the board. But EGW finally starting to show some signs of life as we get closer to sudden death.
EGW has no way to kill the Queen from Ta, so we're going to see a lot of cycling with 3 cards. That will be good for Ta. I think Ta has Fireball, because if he had arrows, he would have already played them by now.
Recruit set up on both sides. This time it's the opposite, where EGW has his evolved recruits on the board. Just split lane pressure the entire time. Of course, options for both here with kind of the spammy nature of the deck of Ta, even with this Royal Giant, and then EGW with Skelly Dragons. Following that 3-3 split, Ghost on the right-hand side going to add some to the lead of Ta. But the left-hand lane, the one that Ta's forced to defend here, as one guard gets tanked for and gets a shot on.
You didn't see it, Rich, but the Ghost got some hits, and Ta got the leads on the right side as well. That's pretty good for Ta, because he's going to try to maybe hold on to this lead and potentially spell cycle, because it's really hard for him to RG. it's really hard for Ta to get some counter push because EGW is playing well and just killing everything.
41
Here's
seconds
the
left.
queen.
Go ahead.
This will have to be the queen. This will have to be the winning queen.
And Evo Mortar at the bridge this time. RG right into it. 29 HP. EGW probably going to go miner to the left-hand side now with all the work happening. And he does. Arrows to get behind it. Fireball goes defensive. RG on the right does not connect. 2 miners on the left-hand side. Tower in a whole lot of trouble. And EGW opening this one up in a huge way. Just has to defend a little bit more. And that is going to be a 2-0 clean sweep. EGW makes it into your top 3.
He played really well after that RG connection. Defensive mortar, recruits, it was just ends and repeats the same thing. He had the perfect cycle, and he was always killing Ta's defensive troops. So no counter push from Ta. I think EGW played it really well after that RG in single.
And let's see if I did get the replay. You guys saw me switching screens about 1,000 times. I was trying to hit my capture replay button. I think I might have gotten it. But EGW, huge win. And now that puts him in our top 3. We'll see the bracket in a moment. Let's see if I did capture this replay. And here we go. EGW just pressuring that left-hand side. Gets the first miner down. And that Royal Giant on the right gets absolutely shredded. Second miner comes in. And there's no coming back from that one. And here we go. Let's look at the bracket. As EGW now officially in the top 3, lower bracket final. He will await the loser of Tourist and Riley to play for a shot to go back up into our grand final. But on top of that, not only is he in that lower bracket final, let's look at our prize pool. Minimum guaranteed payout, 1,500 euros, 1,500 euros for him. One more win will net him a minimum 3,000, and of course, if he can win 3 in a row, not just the lower bracket final and then the grand final, but the grand final reset, has a shot at 7,500. But of course, as we're seeing one more time, he's going to need to get the win against the loser of Tourist and Riley in a minute, and then go back and win one more time, 2 more times. If he can get past that one, I think we're going to take a look at the upper bracket final. Here we go. Tourist and Riley, the upper bracket championship. Winner is guaranteed top 2. Loser has to drop down, face EGW, and then try to come back and get a win against the upper bracket champion. So a big opportunity here for both these players. Not only are we talking about the overall championship and the money here. Let me go ahead and figure out where do I have. I need to go figure out where the rules got posted. The rule book is somewhere in the Discord. Let's go ahead and jump into game number 1 here, folks. Riley, top of your screen, Tourist at the bottom, and it is recruits to open up for Tourist. And recruits Night Witch for Tourist here, Jebbas.
Tourist probably playing Battle Ram deck. I don't know if you have seen it. Battle Ram with an Inferno Dragon, maybe a Poison, Arrows. And Riley playing one of the decks we practiced together, all together, which is Graveyard with Double Tank, Poison Arrows. As a good matchup against most things besides Giant Lightning, I think, and P.E.K.K.A. Lightning. And Tourist opening with an interesting game 1. He wanted to snipe, I think, stuff like Giant, Lava.
And I saw a question before about the community leaderboard points. Remember, one of the 8 golden tickets for World Finals awarded to a player who accumulates the most points over the course of our year in a variety of community cups like this one, the Calalas Cup. Just by making the top 16, you guaranteed yourself a minimum of 10 points, so that went to all of the players here. And when we now have gotten into our top 3, third place will get 65 points towards that leaderboard. second place 80 points, and the champion will get 100 points towards that leaderboard. So winning the championship, certainly a big thing, will help you out a lot, but this is going to require consistency, Jebbas, as the champion doesn't get double the points of our number 2. 80 points versus 100 points is a very small gap when you consider the number of events we have this year.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, the Clash event has the most points, so you will be looking forward to do that, to do very well there, if you want to qualify by points. Here we see a beautiful graveyard by Ian, because he's low on Elixir.
Which one did you say had the most points?
Clash event.
Oh,
I don't
like with Q.
Mhm.
Got it.
Yes, I'm not sure, but I think it has 50% of the points of the community events. That's huge. Here we're just gonna see Riley defending, cycling poisons on defense. Dark Prince is so underrated against recruits. Does an amazing job. The difference between Dark Prince and Ghost is amazing.
And
Just gotta
maybe
watch out for Inferno.
maybe I said Ian instead of Riley. I mean, really, are they different at all? They're pretty much the same person, right? GG asking, does the winner of this match get a golden ticket? No. The winner of this match gets points. The only way to win a gold, so there are 5 ways to win golden tickets. If you win a CRL monthly final, you win a ticket. If you, we have 1 ticket for the winner of the season-long Chinese tournament. We have 1 golden ticket winner from our CRL, our 5 CRL seasons. If you get enough points, there's a points leaderboard for those 5 CRL seasons. And then in these community cups, there's a points leaderboard, and there's 1 golden ticket across all of those community cup events. So the winner here gets points towards a golden ticket, but not a golden ticket directly. Oh, my co-host said Ian. Well, yeah, dude, sometimes we say, look, as Jebbas knows, they are actually the same person wearing different masks.
You hear the Ian against Riley every single time, and sometimes you just say the other's name, so it can happen.
All right, here we
Riley
go. Battle
playing-
Ram set up in the back.
Riley playing beautiful defense. In triple elixir, Riley has every response possible to this deck. The Ice Spirit is clutch against the Evil Battle Ram, so watch out for the Inferno. That's the only problem.
That's not enough to change the game, but if that Inferno had just a little bit more HP, that would have been game over.
Yeah. He just needed 1 smart graveyard, which he had it, and he takes game number 1, just like that.
And
this is one of the best game ones right now, this graveyard deck. This and Giant. Beautifully played by Riley.
Very well played indeed by Riley. And let's talk about the decks they used in game number 1. Riley now with Tesla, Arrows, Poison, Dark Prince out. Do you think Riley covers Drill here in game number 2, given what we've seen from Tourist and his lack of Dark Prince?
Yeah, I think he has to, because this deck is very decent against Drill. Tourist loves Drill as well. When you play this graveyard, you need to watch out for things like Giant, which Giant is open because you have Bomber and Zap Evo open. You gotta watch out for E-Giant, you gotta watch out for Golem, and you have to watch out for Drill. Those are the massive ones. He played Breach Vamp, so I don't expect a backup from Tourist right now, so I would snipe those. So Riley could even go for some sort of Cracker deck. Could even go for RG, because Recruits Inferno burned. So an RG Firecracker could be very interesting from Riley.
We'll see. Yeah, Arrows and Fireball both out.
Mm-hmm.
So Firecracker, as you said, definitely a big problem here. And again, if Tourist loses in this one, he is down but not out. He would go down to our lower bracket. We are still in our top 3. Neither of these players have lost a match yet. The winner here not only goes to the grand final, but will have an extra life to give in the grand final. So we'll have a huge opportunity to not only win 7,500 euros, but on top of that, the top prize of 100 points towards that Community Cup leaderboard, which would be absolutely huge, especially for how difficult World Finals is to make this year, Jebas. We're down to 8 players for World Finals this year rather than 16. So preserving every opportunity to make it to Worlds is huge for these players.
It is. Every tournament matters. E-Spirit from on the back, and as you can see, Riley playing RG, not bad at all. Tourist playing a drill deck, as Rich said, very well, Rich. No, Hoggies, okay. Still good because no Dark Prince. And no arrows from Riley, and he has recruits. So that Evo Bomber and that Bomber will get a lot of damage on the recruits.
And then a delivery on top of that. So great pick here by Tourist so far.
Mm-hmm. I don't dislike the RG from Riley, but the recruits I don't approve them because of the Bomber open.
And we'll see what the DPS choice is going to be here for Tourist. He does get the little Prince out, which will do a nice bit of work.
I think Ian yesterday played this exact deck Riley against Basoto. He had Lightning, Ian. So Riley could have Lightning and Phoenix.
And just slow
Queen.
playing it so far. Queen to the right-hand side. Lightning
Queen instead of
open.
Phoenix. Mm-hmm. Fireball or Lightning from Ian. I did a mistake from Riley. If it's Fireball, there's no chance to win, I think. Lightning, you have a small chance, but still tough. The Ice Spirit, Evo Tesla.
And Riley setting up one more time with the Evo recruits in the back. I don't think most of you guys need a lot of education on Riley, as he is a very, very popular content creator. But overall, he's had some attempts at success in competitive gameplay. This so far looking like the best one. And what does that say for Riley in 2024 as a potential CRL competitor?
And they have Poison as well. That's an absolute shutdown deck. Beautiful Bomber.
And there's that Lightning that you hoped for. So now we'll see some good RG. It does connect onto the tower rather than the Tesla. Tesla a half step late, and that is a lot of damage, 17-15 to 22-06. And suddenly Riley has a little bit of life here against Tourist.
That Lightning was beautiful. Just gotta not take a lot of damage.
These Pigs Poison are just so difficult for him to handle as the lead goes easily. You saw how hard fought the damage was for Riley and how easily that was achieved for Tourist.
Lighting the Tesla.
And, you know, we're seeing the one big problem we're seeing here from Tourist is where do you find the damage to take off that Royal Giant?
Yeah, he doesn't have guards or goblins or anything, so if you pair the RG with the Lightning, you always get some chip. And he's just going to go for the Lightning cycle.
And you're going to see Tourist try to go in hard as he can. As soon as he hits 5, those pigs are coming down. Can he get through? He needs to help me distract this Fish Boy. Evo Bomber, does it connect? And it does, but there is no lightning block here available. The pigs try, but Riley very smartly doesn't do it immediately, and a quick 2-0 battles through a difficult situation in game number 2, and Riley is headed to our grand final.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the Lightning really did wonders for Riley, and I think Tourist needed to rely more on his Little Prince and Bomber on defense. He was depending too much on the Tesla. The Tesla is just there to bait out the lightning and the rest of the troops defend.
And congratulations, Riley. Huge opportunity for him. And this would be a statement win, Jebas, if he can take down this tournament. A guy who really has not had... He's had good showings, flashes, nearly made it to the monthly final a few times last year. Got to the group stage and had a couple of times where he lost on tiebreakers in the group stage in CRL last year. And has not really had a big competitive win. This would be, like I said, a statement win for Riley here, still fairly early in our 2024 season.
Yeah, this is a very good, if he wins this, it's very good for his motivation. He's been practicing, and surely it will do good for him this upcoming month. It will be interesting on how Riley plays this month, since his coach also plays the game. Will be an interesting Swiss from him.
Very true, very true. I mean, do you know if is it exclusively just Mohamed, or does anybody else help Riley in these situations?
If Alan helps him too, then, but Alan probably has more players, so I'm not sure how they will do in CRL. So it will be interesting. But for these tournaments, they can help him since they don't play at the same time.
I see the question, when is CRL going to happen? Well, as soon as this season ends, the top 1,000 from this season will go on to our monthly final Swiss bracket, followed by the group stage, and then Saturday, May 18th, will be the monthly final, the top 8 in that double elimination bracket to play for a golden ticket, and of course, points on the CRL leaderboard. Both of those on the line on May 18th, and you see Riley here in the grand finals. He's going to await the winner of EGW Tourist, so we'll see if he and Tourist run this one back again, or if he gets a different look against EGW, who has been, again, exciting, different, kind of as always, a big game changer.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Tourist is known for sometimes having a bad mental. Maybe he could tilt from this loss. That will be good for EGW. So let's see how Tourist does game 1. That will be... I always like to say that when you lose a set, you always need to bounce back on the first game. Otherwise, you're going to be very down mental-wise. So the first game for Tourist is huge.
We'll see what he comes out with. So far, Tourist on the day has opened up his matches. Where am I? Where is the button I'm looking for? There we go. So far today, Tourist has opened up his matches with... Against Riley, he opened up using Bridge Spam. Against Ta, he opened up using Giant Bowler. Just a Giant Bowler beatdown deck. So we'll see if he goes in a similar vein here.
Yesterday against Adriel, he played Graveyard, the one Riley played. And he against Dominic, he played Drill Tesla as well. I think he needs to go back to meta decks, and he's doing that with a Drill deck, I think.
Zaid saying, Rich, can you please ask Mo, does he purposely go to loser bracket to play more matches? No, he does not. Nobody purposely goes to the lower bracket. That's bananas. We joke about it, but nobody does that. And that's a nice little Evo Bomber connection.
EGW going lava early. That's good, because on this type of matchup, you can do a lot of damage, because Tourist doesn't have a lot of defense in single. That was a beautiful Tesla, so both towers engage and get the balloon out. And people might think this is good for lava, because you have guards, you have arrows, you have Valkyrie, but Tourist has Evo Tesla, Little Prince, arrows, and probably poison. So if Tourist survives single, which he probably did, in double triple, he can do a lot of work with his cards. Beautiful drill.
And a lot of damage from it as well. Very well timed by Tourist, who with a few seconds left before double elixir retakes the lead from EGW by about 460, 470.
Yeah, as you can see, this is the third time people open with drill against EGW. And this time Tourist brings out a knife just to have a tank, you know, because not having a tank sometimes can be tricky. That's an arrows.
Arrows take care of things easily here, and Tourist happy thus far. EGW sets up Lava as we get into the final 30 of regulation time. And you like the Evo Bomber look here, the guard's control, but this feels like it's going to be a pretty nasty push the opposite direction.
Yes, poison and arrows, so I don't think it will do a lot.
And the poison does get the slowdown on the
And
loot.
he has Ice Spirit for the Inferno, and the Loon, like, he's locked in on defense.
So is there any real reason for us to suspect EGW has a look here? Does he need to go 2 lanes to try to split up this defense?
He needs to overwhelm. He needs a good Evil Zap. If he gets a good Evil Zap on, let's say, a Tesla and a Little Prince, he could break through, but until there, I don't think he can break through. Look, just easy defense. Will be a lot of the same now. Love on the back, Tesla setup, Little Prince setup, poison if you need, arrows the pups.
Just lather, rinse, and repeat for the moment for Tourist. 70 seconds left, and EGW with a nice Evo Zap here, but still unable to break past these Teslas, which have been so devastating. But here he goes, second Lava Hound, poison for the initial pups.
And he's in a good spot, EGW, because the tower doesn't have daggers.
Oh, the tower is so low on daggers. Loon going to get not quite all the way in, but that explosion is massive, down to 473. EGW now pressuring as much as humanly possible. That Little Prince staying alive, certainly annoying for EGW. Would have liked that one to go down for a bit more pressure, but now it's his turn to just play defense and not make a big mistake. Evo Bomber not going to do it as the minions at the bridge erase it. 707 on the top left-hand side. Evo Zap in for EGW, plus arrows. 188 remaining. Tourist needs to get on tower. Drill going to be in. He's going to have to drill arrows, poison, throw everything he can at that side, but the Evo Valkyrie will cover perfectly, and EGW gets it done in game number 1.
EGW played it like he should, but I feel like Tourist lost the game almost by himself, because I don't know if you have the replay, but there was a push where he played the drill to tank the lava at the bridge, so the lava wouldn't be tanking the tower and the Loon would be defended. He didn't do that, so the lava was tanking for the tower, and the Loon was gonna break through the Tesla because he placed it wrong, and then he had to place his evil Tesla, and by that he overcommitted, and just like that EGW gets the damage he needed. Even with a huge mistake from Tourist, he couldn't take the tower because Tourist just had a lot to defend with.
And they're getting ready for game number 2 here. So arrows out both ways. Tourist now missing poison and Evo Tesla and Evo Bomber here. And EGW with the match point advantage and chance to go on to our grand final. So thoughts on deck picks as we go into game 2?
I'm not sure how Tourist will go because he already played the cycle. Cycle after lava out would be the best. Maybe he could go for RG or a P.E.K.K.A because they suffered to lava. And from EGW side, I'll be honest, it's hard to predict EGW 100%, but he played Arrows Poison, so I think EGW will definitely play off that.
And big thanks for the analysis here from world champion CRL coach Jebas. He's taken multiple world finalists very deep, including our 2022 World Championship.
Bomber out, Poison out, goes for Archer's recruits.
Bomber, Poison, and Arrows all out. So
Exactly.
a lot there.
Could be a balloon deck.
And that's a lot of damage here. Even with that poison, that is a huge chunk taken by Tourist early.
Lava in single punishes like no other with this tower. So Tourist knows that. He goes for a lava first. Gets a lot of damage. Mortar. Probably a mortar bait type deck.
And why is EGW going opposite lane here?
I don't think it's good to go same lane on this scenario because he took a lot of damage.
And gets a lot of damage back, taking the lead here ever so slightly with a big connection and a really spammy play. And now EGW just trying to keep the pressure up here.
EGW knew he only had Valkyrie in cycle for ground troops, so he just goes Skeleton King Goblins and forces a lot of Elixir out of Tourist, and just like that takes the damage lead back. That was a beautiful play by EGW. He might try to do the same. I'm not sure.
One moment, please.
Balloon gets a hit. It's hard for EGW to defend loons. Tourist knew that. Just went for a naked loon with Evil Zap. He has an Evil Valkyrie. Evil Valkyrie should clean that one up. EGW last card is probably a Miner, which he hasn't played it yet. Interesting one. EGW will try to spam it out, but he has Fireball in hand, Tourist, so nothing will break through. And Tourist takes game number 2.
And we're all tied up, folks, and the Miner does come out there at the very end. And we are going to a game 3.
Tourist screaming, probably a let's go. Because he was in a tough spot mid-game. Tourist played really well on the lava first play. I know people call lava first play toxic, but it just works, so why not doing it? And he knew EGW's cycle. He knew he didn't have ammo on his tower, so he just went Loon and Evil Zap on the archers and got the rest of the tower.
Well, I'll say this, that I think that, lava and golem, that kind of thing, first play is toxic when you're talking about the majority of the casual gameplay experience, right? When you're somewhere in the middle of the game, you're not playing top ladder, and someone random who matches against you just plays Lava Hound or Golem first play, right? There's no skill or thought behind that. That's just blam, let me gamble. I think it's a different thing when you're talking about either A, top ladder, where players know who they're matching up against and know what deck they're playing, or B, here in competitive, where you have an idea about that. You have an idea of what your opponent's playing, and you have information. It's still kind of a junky play, but when you encounter it in mid ladder, it's a random gambling play. When you encounter it in top ladder or here in competitive play, it might actually be the very smart play.
And maybe he had like a really good defensive cycle. When you have a good defensive cycle, you can go in with the level.
Here we go, game number 3. Winner makes it into the grand final against Riley.
He played Fireball and Poison Tourist, so we expect a delivery deck from him here. EGW played Arrows, Zap, so we could also see an Inferno from Tourist. Love Out, EGW RG, pretty known deck pick, and Tourist as a Hog. I don't see a lot of good answers for the RG so far, but he does have Evil Skeletons and Evil Firecracker, so this most likely is screaming for Inferno Tower. No recruits as well, so you can't go wrong with Inferno Tower here.
And that's a lot of early damage here for Tourist. EGW sets up Royal Giant in the back. But that's a nice, about as good of an opening for Tourist as he could have hoped for.
Mm-hmm. Especially with a Hog Rider deck. EGW doesn't have arrows, so yeah, I was gonna say he probably has lightning. Lightning Rage. Beautiful Evil Bomber. He has Rage for the Evil Skeletons, and he has Monk to tank the tower and kill the Crackers, so it would be winnable for EGW, but starting like this, I don't think he can come back. He needs to make a massive push in double.
What a horrific opening here, and now just happy to cycle some Earthquake is Tourist.
Yeah, and Tourist saw Bomber and saw Ghost. He already knew it was RG, so he was aggressive at the start, just like that.
And more aggressive gameplay here.
Yeah,
Evo Skellies do get taken off.
He doesn't have Lightning yet because of Tourist's aggressiveness, and he gets away with the defense.
And again, getting the Earthquakes in with 30 seconds left. Not really messing around at all is Tourist. Wants to make sure this thing ends in the appropriate time. We should see that finished off right as we cross into our sudden death period. One more defense to sew things up, and Tourist should be able to move on. Does need to do a little bit extra defense here. And the Inferno Tower on the back end of the RG for some burn, and does finally get that Royal Giant off the board. GG, well played. Tourist going to our grand final.
He misclicked the Inferno, but wasn't still enough for EGW. If it wasn't for that start, I think EGW takes that game, because he had Monk, he had Rage, Lightning. He was playing well right now, but the early damage he took was too much.
And now we'll have a couple of minutes of a break for Tourist to get ready for his matchup in the grand final. Big win for him, and you know, two really interesting names here in this grand final in Riley and Tourist. Two very well-respected players, but who have not really been in this position in competitive before.
Yeah, I don't think Tourist has ever had a breakout performance so far, and he's doing that. This tournament is huge for whoever wins it, because you're going to get a lot of confidence going in this year.
And keep in mind, folks, that since Riley has not lost a match yet, Riley only has to win once between himself and Tourist, one best of 3. If Riley wins the first best of 3, it is tournament over. Riley's our champion. If Tourist wins the first best of 3, we will have a bracket reset, as Riley does still have a loss to give, and we'll do a super grand final that will be a single best of 3 to decide our champion. So Riley has to win one best of 3. Tourist has to win twice. That is the lay of the land. So big advantage for Riley, although, Jebas, in my mind, if you lose the first one, you're almost definitely losing the second one. And that seems like that has played out over and over again here in Clash Royale.
Yeah, I think so. I think like 80-90% of the time that happened. I think could be because of a lot of reasons. First of all, I mean, Riley has played against Tourist already, so if he plays those two other best of threes, he needs three different openings. And I don't know, maybe they didn't prepare for three different openings, so the last best of three could not be very well stretched. And also mental. Mental is key. You could be down, and as I said, for Tourist, he needed to win that game on. He didn't actually, but he still managed to come back. So when you lose a best of three, you're really down. You just need people around you to motivate you, and if you can get a win on the second best of three, that's key. That's crucial. Let's see how Riley performs.
I see a lot of questions here about the Super Grand Final. Folks, we've been doing double elimination tournaments here in Clash Royale since 2000. I mean, since before 2021, but as the official format since 2021, including for CRL. You have to lose twice to be knocked out of the tournament. It's a double elimination bracket. So until you lose twice, you are still alive. And what that means is the first time you lose, you drop into the lower bracket. And if you keep winning, you stay in the upper bracket. What that also means is the person who wins the upper bracket has not lost yet. So they still have to lose twice to be knocked out. In this case, Riley hasn't lost a match yet, so he still has to be beaten twice to be knocked out of the tournament. Tourist has already lost a match, which we saw a little while ago against Riley. So Tourist already gave up his free life. If Tourist loses, it's game over. If Riley loses, they play again because Riley has not lost yet.
Here we see a repetition of the game one Riley played against Tourist. As I said, this graveyard is very solid, only loses to maybe the lightning decks, for example, Giant Lightning. And what does Tourist bring to the table? A Giant Lightning. It will be an interesting matchup to see, because Tourist has a lot of has good defense, and his offense is amazing. But you see a failed Lightning here, and he might get punished by it.
Folks, I'll do this one more time. Simply forget everything else about the bracket. It's a double elimination tournament. You're knocked out. You are not out of the tournament until you're beaten twice. Riley has not been beaten yet. Tourist has been beaten once. So once Tourist is beaten twice, he's out. Riley has to be beaten twice to be knocked out, and he has not lost yet. Those are all the big pieces of the tournament. That's how double elimination works. That's how you, in a situation like this, where a game that does have some matchup variability, right? You do have matchup as a feature in a game where you do have that as a feature, having not just a single elimination bracket, but one where you limit the randomness of the game by giving more gameplay opportunity. That's why we use double elim in Clash Royale, and many esports use double elim.
Riley doing a Tesla we haven't seen today. One out to the side, so the lightning doesn't connect to the tower and the Tesla. And so far, that Tesla has been defending the Giants pretty nicely. He gets an early damage lead with 2 graveyards already.
21-29, that top right-hand tower. Some chip on the bottom left, and a big push coming down for Tourist.
Look at the Tesla. Let's see if he does it. Now, this time he just plays it on the face of the Giant. But he's getting overwhelmed.
Great Ice Spirit here to control everything. The High Knight trying to keep everything up top. But the spam from Tourist at the bridge is creating fits and starts for Riley, as he is a little bit low on Elixir. And that Guardian goes to town on the tower. Tons of shots. Bowler on there as well. Knight in, and Riley knows that game one is over. Tourist starting off the way he needs to here with an opening win.
Yeah, Tourist failed the lightning, but he managed to bounce back on defense with a Knight blocking bridge, so the graveyard wouldn't be tanked by the Knight, and he defended the first graveyard, even with his mistake. And just like I said, this graveyard struggles against lightning. Tourist recognizes what they played the last best of 3, goes game 1 with the Giant Lightning and gets a good matchup, and he didn't even have to play amazing to win it.
So resetting here for game number 2. Let's talk a little bit about game number 1. As Tourist, we just saw lightning arrows out, so might expect some Archer Queen from Riley. Now, with that in mind, Jeb, as we talk a lot about you're going to do this, so I do this, so you do this, with the idea that it's likely that Riley runs something with Queen, what does Tourist do in response for that?
He needs a monk, for example. Monk is meta because of cards like Queen, Little Prince, Bomber. So Tourist could play, let's say, an RG Monk. He could also play a bit on deck with Tesla, Poison, Arrows out, as you said. You also said Drill the last time, which could also be an option from Tourist. So from Riley, I'm not sure exactly the pick he will go for here because he can play RG Queen again because that's too predictable.
Wow.
So he could take advantage of the arrows burn and play, I don't know, for example, a Firecracker deck. Firecracker Monk could be a good option for Riley.
Well, request is up for Riley. He's locked in his deck. We'll see how long it takes Tourist to make his choices. And he's ready to go. Let's jump in. Game number 2. Tourist with a chance to send us to the bracket reset.
Evo Zap by Tourist. Could be a drill deck with Zap and Tesla. And
Royal
Riley
Giant
goes for the same idea. Wow. Tourist playing his bread and butter, some breach spam, some drill, as a Queen, as a Tesla. We'll have to see Riley's spell. If
are
Riley
we expecting
doesn't have
Fireball
a
or Lightning here?
If Riley doesn't have a Lightning, this game is, in theory, over.
Well, theory always has to play out in practice. And with a slight lead here so far, we'll see if that's enough. 1,000 HP is not even slight. It's almost a 1/3 lead on damage here. So we'll see if Riley can find a way.
He got a lot of damage in single already with that one RG. I think Tourist is rocking the same deck he played against. I don't know who. I think it was Poison, Drill, last cards.
And people in the chat are confused as who's commentating alongside me. And this is Jeba's former coach of Mohamed Light and current coach of Clown and Adriel, longtime top-tier coach in the game. And his voice sounds nothing like Mohamed Light's. They have very different voices. So, there you go. And a little $10 super chat from who? I've had a session with a few players, and we agreed that Evo Wiz isn't that good. I feel like Supercell could have tried better with this Evo like a shield, really. Well, we'll have to wait for that to be seen once that Evo Wizard makes its way into the game.
It's probably the same deck by Riley with Lightning. Tourist is down elixir, so he just needs to spam a lot. You're gonna see Tourist doing this all game long. Drill on the back, pressure the bridge, look at the damage. Tourist known for being one of the best bridge spam players. He got the damage back. Let's see if he can defend this one.
And those guards creating problems here for Riley. And you have to imagine that he is trying to figure out the math on how does he break through given his spell situation.
He needs a recruit to overwhelm Tourist, but Tourist has already adapted to that type of offense, I think. So he's going in very early with the Tesla, so you guys got 2 of them, and he's saving the guard as well.
And just chooses to eat that bandit wisely.
He knows Riley has a Lightning, and I was gonna say exactly this. He either goes for a Queen opposite, or he goes for a Queen high to DPS RG very quickly. He prefers to play the Queen there, because the Queen there, you don't really want to Lightning that Queen most of the time, but if you don't Lightning that Queen, you have a 3-card cycle. 3-card cycle, Tesla, guards, bandit, you name it, for defense.
And just unable to get through this at all right now is Riley. A minute left, triple elixir, and that double Evo attempt felt like the most important one. We'll see. We'll have one more look at a double Evo attempt from Riley here in triple elixir. He has to play some defense first, though. Not much to give in terms of room on the right-hand lane. Does get another ghost out onto that drill. Drill will do a little bit more damage, though. Plus the poison, and here we go. Evo recruits, Evo Royal Giant. Guards cleaning up like crazy. This time it's the Archer Queen to go DPS on the Royal Giant. Lightning does clear it. Evo RG should get one, and it does. Does not get a second, and that feels like it is the nail in the coffin. But Riley going to keep the pressure on here at the bridge. 20 seconds left. Tesla does clear. Lightning for the Queen. Barb Barrel try to get the Tesla off the board. Fast cycle here from Riley. The Evo Zap to stop it. 7:28 remaining. Drill going to go in. Evo RG cannot get to that tower in time. And Tourist with a huge performance, taking the win off of Riley. And we are going to a bracket reset and a super grand final.
That Evo Zap saved Tourist's life on that last RG. And he was down in the beginning, and just a brilliant play midway through with the drill on the back, as I said, and Bandit Ghost Bridge. Really well played by Tourist, and takes the first best of 3.
And that's a huge best of 3. Tourist now has to be feeling really confident, not just with what happened, but with the way he did it.
And I'm sure because I've been on this position that Riley's side didn't prepare 2, maybe 3 openings against Tourist because maybe they didn't expect Tourist to be on the final. But you always need to prepare for this last day at least 2 openings. And you see they just repeat the first deck and they repeat the second deck and it doesn't work out. So now they're feeling less confident. So it will be interesting to see what they open with. They could still definitely win, obviously, because Riley's talented. He has Mo, which deals very well with stress in these scenarios. So it will be interesting to see what they bring to the table. I'm sure Tourist has another deck for Riley game 1.
Well, we will certainly see what they have prepared. A little delay here as Tourist needs to get the charger for his camera. He's already back now, so we'll get these deck picks up and running here fairly quickly. And folks, if you want information on the Clash Royale esports scene, you can go to esports.clashroyale.com to get all of your information, both about Clash Royale League itself and about events like this one, our CRL community events. One of our 8 golden tickets for World Finals comes from a points leaderboard for the CRL community events, and we have 4 of them this year. Right now we have the Calalas Cup. We have 3 other ones besides that: the LPL Clash Royale World Tour for 2024, the GKR 2024 competition, and Dragon League by Clash, but that's Q, Clash with a Q for some reason. So all four of these give you points this year. The Dragon League from Clash is a 5-season competition starting in April, running all the way through September with multiple different phases, chances for you to qualify both in ladder and some last chance qualifiers, big brackets. That one's happening all year. Of course, the Calalas Cup is almost done. We are about to end that one right here. Our LPL World Tour will start with Season 1 in May and June, and Season 2 in July through August. So those are 2 opportunities there to get points. And then GKR will run from the end of July through the beginning of August. These will have open qualifiers for them as well. All of this information available right on the front page. You can click it very quickly on esports.clashroyale.com. So not only can you go ahead and qualify for Clash Royale League by making top 1,000 on Path of Legends, these are other ways to potentially qualify for Clash Royale League, or at least get some competitive experience by trying to qualify for this wide variety of community events that you have access to. So go ahead, give it a shot, or if you want to, just watch, which you can do right here on this channel. throughout the year. I'm covering a lot of these events, not all of them. I have some other responsibilities this year, but I am covering a lot of them, including this one as well. So if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel, like this stream. Very simple, free, easy ways to support the Clash Royale esports scene, as a lot of it is, of course, not just in CRL, but through events like this one throughout the year. So hopefully you enjoy those, and maybe I'll be casting one of your events, one of your matches very soon, if you're able to jump into the mix, and maybe you'll get a shot at a big prize pool just like this one. Remember, folks, our loser here will get 3,000 euros and 80 points towards that leaderboard this year. Our first place player gets 100 points for that leaderboard and 7,500 euros. So a big opportunity for our champion to not only take home a big piece of prize pool, but also get a shot at qualifying for World Finals, which automatically gives you a whole bunch more prize pool as well just for making it to Worlds. So big moment for both Tourist and Riley coming up. Now, you talked a little bit about, Jebas, about Tourist maybe having more decks prepared for Riley than Riley had prepared for Tourist. What do you think we see? If you're in Riley's corner here, what would you be telling Riley and working up for Riley as we get ready for this next game?
First of all, they need to counteract this Giant, because this Giant is so good against cycle players. And they also need to figure out how to give him his comfort, which is the cycle decks, the drill decks. But on this map, it's very tough. So I feel like they could also open with the drill, but they try to counteract that type of Giant deck. Or they could also go different from what I'm saying, and they just go a bit down to counter Giant. Maybe a Golem Barbs could work, I'm not sure, or even a Lava. Riley doesn't have Evos yet, so that's why he can't go Lava. But for example, yesterday, when Adriel was playing against Furkan, we wanted to counteract Drill and Giant, and we went Lava game 1 with Barbs, and we got Giant. That's also a good idea for them to go, even without Zep. It's not expected, so...
Well, no more expectations needed. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. The bracket reset. This is it, folks. The best of 3. Our winner of this is the champion of the Calalas Cup 2024.
Rage from Tourist. Riley can also go for a mirror, and he puts a Fisherman. Giant. So, trying to replicate Lucas and Ian's thought process. Tourist goes with the Monk, as we spoke about it on the other set. And I think they grab a decent matchup here.
And nice reflection there from the Monk. Very, very well placed and well timed to get both the Little Prince and that tower into the full brunt of it.
You can see this E-Giant deck was really prepared for the Giant, and you ask me why. Evil Skeletons. The Giant doesn't have a Zep, so Evil Skeletons are one of the Evils that shine better against that Giant. But Tourist has a Rage, so Skeletons are pretty useless on this matchup. Cracker Monk will be really annoying for Riley to deal with.
And Electro Giant. And sorry, if you're... I'm not going to read super chats that are either potentially offensive, because I saw something from another guy who posted something that I don't know. I have heard different definitions of what he said, so I'm not going to post that one on the stream. And if you're complaining about the game, I'm not going to put the super chat up. I'm sorry. I just can't. I'm not gonna do that, unfortunately. So, is what it is. Sorry, dude.
Beautiful RG from Tourist. Grabs some damage. Riley loses his camera. And let's see. Let Riley. I don't think Riley should place same lane. I don't know. Looks rough. This evil Cracker will be a nonsense. He has to lightning the Cracker and the Monk, but by lightning it, he doesn't have a lot of elixir to defend. And beautiful Spirit. He doesn't even need the Rage there. Tourist is playing this really well on offense. You can see Rich this cracker causing so much trouble.
Very, very difficult.
You get some damage, but it doesn't matter. Oh yes, Fireball. Fireball does help Tourist a bit to clean some little princes or anything he needs. Here just pressuring, because he has 2 crackers. No bar barrel, crackers just going absolutely in. Riley can't go on offense.
And Tourist continues to just put the hurt on Riley. And Justin Webb saying, Nico's insight is very nice to have. I agree. It is wonderful to have Jebba's here joining us for this day.
Watch out, there's a lot of evil skeletons on the field.
And
that's a
that
lightning at
fisherman,
6.
yeah, that fisherman runs away, so a second fisherman has to come out. And that is a lot of damage as that fish boy just went completely AWOL.
He got a bit confident, and the skeleton just distracted his fisherman. He's gonna have to spam a lot of crackers here. Riley decides to go for the lightning cycle, which I don't agree with, because he's two NATOs, 1 lightning elf. Oh, he cycles the first NATO. I don't think he can defend this.
This is going to be a huge ending. Fireball in, and Riley just barely steals that one. Oh my word. Riley came to play in this bracket reset.
That was amazing how Riley managed to cycle 2 NATOs and a lightning there. Really well played by Riley. That push with the Phoenix and the Evil Skeletons was so annoying. I feel like Terry's overcommitted because he has the tools. He has the tools to... He just needs to rage the Skeletons. He just needs the Cracker and Monk. I feel like he just overcommitted there. I'm not sure where he played the rage. But, yeah.
And wow. Just wow. Let me go ahead and queue up the replay here, which I definitely grabbed because that was quite the ending here. Give me 1 second. Oh, that's the wrong button. Here we go. Here's our replay. And Jebus, talk us through these final moments.
Here, I'm not sure if they knew to start cycling lightnings, but yeah, that's the only way he can win the game here. Cycle a lightning. Here, Riley and his team recognizes 2 NATOs, so he goes for a NATO first here to get all the troops back, so he has time to cycle through his deck. Skeletons actually help him because it's only 1 elixir. He cycles the lightning and he cycles the second NATO. That was like very quick math on their head if they really figured it out, because the tower is at 700.
And we are waiting for a resolution. I see people talking in the chat about the about Riley and his camera, and Riley, the League Ops is being objective with Riley, saying cameras are a requirement of this tournament. So there's going to be a conversation here on whether Riley can continue if he doesn't get his camera solved. So I'm keeping you guys informed, folks. It is a requirement of being in here that you have your camera on, and there is a League Ops conversation right now happening. So I will keep you informed as that develops, but it's going to be a question. And people say can't afford a proper camera. Riley does not use cameras during his videos, right? So he's using a phone as his camera, a second phone, and that phone died. That phone ran out of battery because he didn't have it plugged in, I guess. So there's a discussion happening. We'll see if that gets solved. But, yeah, I see a lot of people talking in the chat about the camera situation, and it is being discussed. So I'll keep you guys posted.
I still think every player should have a camera.
Well, especially every player should always have a camera, especially when it's in the rules and very clear about camera usage.
Exactly.
So we'll see what happens. And they're trying to give him time to get this thing fixed, but yeah, it's a very important part of this. And he was having trouble with I guess he'd be having some trouble with the website you bring camera in, so using a phone. And it looks like we might have camera back here, folks. So I think that we're going to be okay going into our next game. We'll see what happens. But it does look like we have it.
Tourist requested.
And why is the camera required? For a number of reasons, including the production quality, because this is really boring for a lot of people if you don't see the camera. Also for League Ops reasons. So camera's just one of the requirements of playing at this level. You want to play at this level, you got to use your camera. So it's one of the rules. But it looks like I am seeing on our feed, I am seeing Riley on camera here. So it looks like we're going to be okay.
They're making the deck. Tourist played Monk, as I said, so we might see a cycle from Riley, but they need to watch out for the Giant deck. The Giant deck is still open. They could go for an Inferno Tower deck. Maybe Inferno Tower Barbs type deck. And Tourist goes back to Giant. I don't like this idea because it's very obvious.
And let's see if Riley has the pieces here to shut this down.
So far, the Bomber will be hard to deal with, but Evo Tesla. Riley has Poison on his deck for sure. That will be very good for him. And he could even have arrows, if I'm honest, because arrows could help on defense. But he could just have log poison. Evo Cracker will be hard to deal with because light arrows doesn't kill it. Good Hog. The tower didn't have ammo. He did the Tesla I told you, Rich, the anti-lightning one, but he misclicked a bit and he overcommitted, so Giant connects on tower. And just like that, as I was criticizing Tourist deck pick, it still worked because of how broken it is. See, it's sometimes the most obvious can work at times because it's really hard to counteract it.
And one more chance at getting a hog in here and trying to get one, maybe two out of it. And the body blocks here are just devastating. And looks like we are most likely going to be going to a game 3 here.
That's what everybody wanted. Yet Riley hasn't played the last combo except Poison, for sure. And yeah, Tur's just gonna clean it up. This is the problem of the meta. When you want to snipe something that's so solid, you can't bring, I think he brought like 2 counters, but you need like 3 counters, 4 counters. You need a really, you need a deck that almost only beats that. Yeah. Let's see. But now Tourist burned lightning, he burned arrows, he burned monk. He doesn't have a lot of stuff open to snipe Riley cycles. Let's see. Riley still has his queen open, but we could potentially see a queen here.
And I'm just going to, now that we're not in-game, I'll address this for a moment. Folks, I appreciate every super chat here on the stream. And I'm going to make some choices on what to show. And if your super chat is positive, if it's interesting, stuff like that, I'm going to show it. If your super chat is either A, potentially offensive, or B, like negative and just going to generate like and kind of not what we're doing here, I might not show it. Super chats are a thing that you can do on your own. You choose to do it. I don't have a refund button. I would happily refund a super chat I don't show if I had a button for it, but I don't have one. If you have a way to get your refund back, go ahead and do it. But yeah, this is a fun, family-friendly stream, and I'm just not going to show some things on here. So that is what it is. So you're able to chat as much as you want. I appreciate support if you give it, and if you don't want to, don't have to. And folks, I'm yapping, but we also don't have a game right now. So I'm going to go ahead and address the question, and there you go. So looking at game 3 here, the Hog kind of a funky pick. We have match ready to go.
I understand the Hog, but at this level, and with how broken that giant is. Oh, he had Earthquake, by the way. Maybe he was trying to snipe the drill deck as well. But he didn't have Ghost, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't understand the EQ there. Yeah. Riley still has drill open, so we could potentially see a poison deck from Riley. Riley has Queen Miner open, Queen Drill. He has RG. Tourist is hard to predict because sometimes he just plays off meta decks.
And folks, last comment, most streamers don't even show chats on screen. I have a method to do that. Usually if you super chat, it just shows up in the chat. I have a method to show chats on stream. I do it sometimes. Sometimes I don't. Usually I show super chats. But if it's not in the vibe, it's not happening. Do at your own risk. Thank you, Oizy. Let's go on to game 3.
Riley bringing out the Inferno to maybe snipe something heavier, and Tourist just goes Lava. But Tourist has Zap. Let's see, because Zap is a very good counter to Inferno now for some reason. And we see a Queen, as I said, we see a Drill, that's Riley's bread and butter, and we see an Inferno, and we see a Poison. That's a very solid deck from Riley right here. Tourist didn't have arrows, and he didn't have Fireball, and he still opted to go Lava.
Why do you think he's making that choice here with those pieces all missing?
Because he had so much success with Lava, I feel like they just wanted him to play the best decks. But maybe it was predictable. And also, Snowball, Zap, I don't know if that works. I mean, not that I knew, but we could see a potential Queen, right? And he has nothing for Queen. What does he do to kill the Queen? Queen is just gonna destroy everything. And he even has a Snowball.
So Lava sets up left-hand lane. Queen in response. Maybe Tourist goes with dual lane options, but even then, Inferno Tower, Snowball, Drill, Queen, going to be very difficult to find a good opportunity. Oh yes, and the Poison, of course.
I don't know how we'll win this because he has so many counters. Snowball to the other side, other tower engages, like I said, huge thing on this meta. And Queen just kills everything, and that's a GG.
And Tourist calling the GG here. And this is a huge statement win for Riley from one of the most popular content creators in the English-speaking scene to now Calalas Cup champion. Points, $7,500, and most importantly, the bragging rights. here to host that trophy.
And Rich jinxing the 2 best-of-3 winners right here with Riley winning the second best-of-3.
And congrats to Riley. And we talked about that momentum thing where usually losing that first best-of-3 makes it so difficult to come back second time around. Really gritty performance from Riley, and also the camera distractions, right? You and I saw this. There was a pretty in-depth League Ops conversation. He's having to get up and run around trying to find a replacement for his camera as the first phone ran out of batteries, and he went to go find, I believe, his iPad to replace it. So, huge moment for him.
Maybe.
Let's take a look at the podium. Riley on top, third place for Tourist, EGW with a very nice third place finish. But the big one here, and I actually seen in chat here, Riley's friend and Coach Muhammad Light celebrating in the chat inside the clan as well.
I mean, yeah, when I first came into this playoffs, I already knew Riley was going to be a big threat because he plays well and he has a good stuff. So he just proved my point. Really well played. They got the last matchup, which is the most important because it's the last game. So congrats. I feel like the first win of this best-of-3 was where it all changed, because I feel like Tourist had to win that one. That matchup was too good to lose.
And it was a very big win for Riley there to carry on through that game one into the rest of it. Folks, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this weekend. 3 days of high-level competitive Clash Royale. This is the end of the Calalas Cup. There's, of course, a lot more community events coming up soon. I don't have Riley into my Discord for an interview, guys, so I'm not going to be able to get Riley in here for this today, but maybe I'll do a video with Riley at some point. We'll see. But, of course, you'll be probably seeing him talk about these games a lot on his own channel tomorrow. There's a lot more community events coming up. Go to esports.clashroyale.com for all your information there on how to participate, and, of course, participate in Clash Royale League itself. Get your push ready. Top 1,000 Path of Legends. That finish will get you into our May monthly competition with a chance at playing all the way through for a shot at a golden ticket. Folks, it's been a whole lot of fun. One last big thank you to Jebas for joining us on the day. That's it for our stream. As always, be excellent to each other and party on, dude. Peace.